pledge.
She's moved along, but
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Did everybody have a chance to review the agenda?
Yeah, I've reviewed the agenda and I would move to approve the agenda.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Did everybody have a chance to review the minutes from the last meeting?
Did I move to approve the minutes of the June 16th meeting?
Second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes from the June 16th meeting. Is there any further discussion?
The only thing I just want to call out really quick, there was a comment made in the last meeting, I was remiss in not addressing it at the time. It's not necessarily on the minutes, but I think Allen's Park Supply does deserve an apology. There was a comment made that called into question their reliability. And the reality is they've only worked on one sheriff's vehicle in the past 10 years.
And I was going to address that with the sheriff and
And
talk about that later, so.
I think they deserve as many chances as we can get because,
I
anyway,
agree. I talked to Pam too, so.
I wanted to make sure that was clear as we talked about last meeting's minutes, that those comments weren't reflected in the minutes, but the record on YouTube does need to be clear. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Did everybody have a chance to review the vouchers?
Yeah, I've looked through them. I would move to approve the vouchers.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the vouchers. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. You've looked at these. We'll do the tabbies this time.
Thank you. This thing is getting pretty long over here.
Scribble.
Okay, we have Cindy Witt on our agenda. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to come and tell you, thank you so much for your support of the 250 mural. And I don't know if you've all been by, I know Jeff was there the day we were painting on it. It turned out amazing. We have left to finish the scroll, which is gonna list all the sponsors and the committee members. And our plan is that those that were either sponsors or committee members, they come and sign or paint their name on the scroll themselves. Unless you say, I absolutely won't do that. But I think that would be really kind of cool.
But you want it legible.
We don't care. Is it all legible on the
It looks nice enough where you
Declaration
don't
of
want to scribble
Independence?
on there, yeah.
So, this is just a little token of my appreciation.
Oh my goodness.
I thought you were giving me a sobriety coin or something.
Yeah.
250 years.
250 years sobriety.
No worry for my hat.
Well, thank you, but we didn't do it for that.
Yeah, this is
But I
fantastic.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think it's a great addition to the community murals.
You know, when I came down there that morning, it was like 9:30, 10 o'clock, something like that, and there was like 8 people painting on that wall, and you had people waiting, and there's people just getting done, and I thought, look at the, and a lot of it was done, by then. They showed up early, kind of before the heat, and, to see that kind of participation from the public, that's really good. It's really a good thing.
So do you have a time scheduled to finish it up?
I've gotta, not really.
Leave a kid in black page unless you sign yourself.
Like, last week Nicole Cifuentes texts me and she goes, I need this week to just regroup, and I was like, I'm with ya. And so, yeah,
Let it cure.
Right.
we will get her done.
It'll get baked on here in the next few days.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Mhm. Yeah. So, and we got the paint, it's, I forget what it's called, like, it's a sealer, but it's graffiti proof. I don't know how they do that, but
Might have just used the same stuff
it's
on the
pretty
grill, who knows?
expensive.
Yeah.
It's like $169 a gallon, but we want it to last.
They gonna roll that on, spray it on, or how are they?
I'm not sure
I
how
bet
it
spray-
adds,
spray.
putting it on.
Cause that texture on that's rough.
You know what, but, oh, you guys, like, there was people came and painted that I wouldn't have expected to come and paint. And there was so many little kids came, and I don't mean like 8, 9 years old, I mean like 4-year-olds. And it was so nice to be able to go, here is some blue paint and a paintbrush, and you come over here, sit down on the ground and paint the ocean. And those little kids were thrilled that they were able to do that. Because their moms were like, oh, I don't know, and I said, they'll be fine, just let them paint.
Most little kids have experience painting on walls.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's like,
that's what
usually
you're
it's like, you are in big trouble.
Yeah.
But,
I don't need a brush, I got my.
Yeah.
so it was special for me to watch the community come and support it, but now it's really special, the finished product.
Yes, it looks fantastic.
Well, thanks for heading that up, getting that going.
Yeah. And it's, gonna be there a while.
Well, that's what Frank Jones said to me.
Yeah.
He goes, I want this here the rest of my life. And I was like, we can do that.
Thanks, Cindy.
Mhm.
Okay, we have our fair and library budget discussion. Not sure which we're gonna do first, we'll see what. Do you wanna do the fair or the library budget discussion first, Melvin?
Well, I think it's in tandem really, because in the last meeting, we had talked about IT. And So really, maybe it should have been IT discussion, but it involves fair and library specifically. So that there's two major questions, I think, to answer. One is that the library tech needs, and then what's missing, what can be addressed. Like, one of the questions was the 4 computers downstairs, how much they're used, and if there's a way to appropriate them differently, because there's a charge per device, obviously. And then the fair, you guys with me? And then the fair, it was a question of onboarding and what level of share or level of importance they would place on it, because it determines how much of their funding goes towards it. So that's really the discussion today, is what IT needs are at each location, really.
So I guess let's start
Might be the longest answer to your question, which one to start with, but.
with the library and
Okay,
talk about
I'm not
your
angry,
needs.
I'm cold. Like, wow, this is not good.
It's
body
gonna, it's
language.
gonna warm up.
We actually kind of just shared those top 3 computers for many years, but now they have a shared login, so now we are using the downstairs ones. Make sense? And Guernsey would take 3 more.
So you use the ones
Yeah,
downstairs
now
for
we do.
staff?
So now if you check your email or do any work, you have to go use your downstairs one, because that upstairs one is all.
So how many computers total do you have for your staff?
For the staff, we have 7. 8, that is not true, 8. If you count Wheatland. Guernsey has 1, Glendale has 1, Chuckler has 1.
So you have 8 in Wheatland?
8 in Wheatland, yes.
And then 1 in each of these?
Yes. And 6 public access in Wheatland, 2 in Guernsey, 1 in Chug, and 1 in Glendale.
So you have basically 10 each,
12, right?
so it's 2 and 1.
Roll through it one more time.
Wow.
Julie. How many do we
Okay,
have?
I cannot do math anymore. 6 public access, 8 staff,
Do the
in
6
Wheatland.
include the card catalog?
no,
So 7.
7.
And
Isn't that
then,
just a kiosk though?
well, I'm just trying to figure out our per
Okay.
device.
Does it cost?
Yes.
So you have 8 staff in Wheatland,
Mm-hmm.
and 1 in Chugwater, and 1 in Guernsey.
Yes, and 1
So
in
there's
Glendale.
10 staff total.
Mhm.
And then you have 6 public access in
Mhm.
Wheatland, 2 in
Guernsey.
Guernsey, 1 in Glendale, and 1 in Chugwater. Look at 10 there.
And
And
to
then
be
1
fair, in Glendale and Chugwater, the staff and public are the same. It's only 1 in each building.
Oh, okay,
Makes sense?
so they share that
Yeah.
duty. And then you have 1 specifically for card catalog.
Yes, correct.
So what's the number?
So you got 10, 8, and 1 is what I get.
19 total.
That's what I get.
That sounds right.
But the 4 downstairs are used, how often are all 4 used at the same time?
If we're proctoring, maybe, I don't know, we're trying to schedule it so that now everybody has time to go downstairs and check their email and do their work. So I'd probably say 3 are used every day, and then that 4th one is just used for proctoring.
How many staff members do you have on duty at any given time?
3 to 5. And then at night, we're just down to 1, so.
So the most staff you'd have on duty would be 5.
Mhm.
Then you have 6 computers available for those 5 people.
Mhm.
So could we,
No, we have, well, I mean, I don't know what you, so it's tricky now because of the shared login upstairs, like, so those are kind of just, I don't want to say dummy computers, but kind of, you know what I mean? Like, that's just used for to check in and check out. The proctoring one,
so do those dummy computers need to be on the
They
system?
are, yeah, that's a,
Do they?
honestly, do those downstairs ones need to be on the
Well,
system?
I would say, yeah, I mean, number one is, having the support on them if something were to go wrong.
That's true.
They're all connected to the internet, so antivirus, things like that, but, yeah. So in terms of needs, what listed out in the budget request this year was a printer and one, and then is that it?
And honestly, that's just because we're real sick of reading the public's text messages. There's a lot of fighting going on. And if we can't get it, we can't get it, we're not that worried about it.
Well, I think we can get it. I think, I'm gonna use some of the county library fund to do it. Which there's 343,000 in that account. So, I think using that to offset probably the library's IT needs, include the printer, I think will help. Does that work okay?
My only question, I guess, is do you really need 6 available computers if you only have 5 people at the maximum time?
And maybe this is a Jordan question, but he was real serious about don't be logging in and out of computers. So if like Harley and Haley could share a computer, but then they'd be logging in and out all the time. So that's where I'm, don't know.
How often are you guys logging in and out? I thought you
Well,
were
we're
saying
not
that we.
supposed to be, so we
That's-
don't, like I only use mine. But for the upstairs, for the public, when we're checking out books.
Yeah.
Those we don't save anything to. Does that make sense? So we
Yeah.
only save downstairs.
What we're trying to do is kind of skinny down the computers over there because it costs, you know, what, you know, my idea of it might just be convenience or it might actually be a necessity, but we're trying to get away from things that we're paying for that are just convenience based, you know what I mean? And so if, that's really the question we're asking, we're trying to get down to get rid of a computer at the library without, if it's just an inconvenience, then I'm more likely to go, yeah, we should get rid of a computer if it's just for convenience. And so,
I guess that would be maybe a Jordan question. Can the proctoring computer is the one that I would think maybe we could just sign them into ours, but I don't know the answer to that question. And we've had quite a bit of proctoring lately.
Because of maintenance on the backside.
yeah, what is it, like, it's like $600 a year just to hold a computer?
For what?
What we pay for a computer per year, like $20 a month or something like that,
75 a
Maintenance.
month.
75 a month.
Okay.
For
So,
each one?
whenever you're, we need to have a
Which-
conversation about what's worth more, is like 12 times 75 is what, 875, it's almost $1,000 a year just to keep a computer around, so if you can use that $1,000 somewhere else that's more effective, then maybe we should be thinking about that, but that's.
I know this is bad timing, but like since we just are now started this, we just need 6 months to see how it's gonna work.
See how what's gonna work.
Because this just, since he put that network in, what, in May? April, probably, May, probably. So this is new to us too, like we've never been able to, I mean, this is the first time we can't use those computers to check our emails, so it's different now.
And I don't think that we will be to the point in this budget of
Okay.
slimming it down.
Okay, yeah, if you
But-
give me 6 months to kind of figure it out.
I'll give you 12.
Okay,
Because,
perfect, I love it.
I think in preparation of next year's budget,
Yeah.
those are gonna be the big questions
Yeah,
of
I don't know.
really IT scope. And to be clear in that, per device charge, half of that is licensing fees.
Yeah.
So
Okay, you
all
almost
of
made
our
me have a heart
software
attack.
licensing fees. Okay. But I think this helps to at least bridge the gap until next fiscal year.
Okay.
Gives me a little more understanding. So I would say in the next fiscal year, we determine necessity.
Mhm. Yeah,
Have a
let
good
us have a
conversation.
summer and a winter of trying it and we'll figure it out.
Does that work for you all?
I think so. And then moving on to the fair. We're talking about the cost of onboarding the fair onto the county system.
And the quote was 35,000 for really to get ag extension, the agriplex, the indoor arena all on board. In
Well,
seeing,
that 30, let's call it 36 or 35.8, was, he's trying to get the agriplex, the extension office, the indoor arena, and both crow's nests in there.
Oh, crow's nest
That's
also.
in this quote is arena 1 and arena 2,
okay,
so. Now I don't know if the smaller arena crow's nest, but I know the 3 main buildings for sure. I mean, if the crow's nest, great. If not, I don't think it's gonna make or break anything. If they have networking out there, I don't know what you think on that one. If there's,
Okay, something had to go up.
yeah, if we can cut the cost down, I think those 2 can be outliers for a while. On the crow's nest is
so part of the issue,
Paperwork when Jordan was here last.
so part of the issue with this was the ShowWorks program doesn't work
Yeah.
between the ag extension and the fair office since they're on separate networks. They've found a workaround thankfully, but that's what really spurred the conversation was.
But that's not the initial, correct? That's just regenerating the conversation years ago, am I correct?
Right.
It
But
just is-
that created the urgency for it. So I think 2 meetings ago, they had Jenny and Hannah in here talking about needing to be onboarded immediately. Realized there was a workaround to slow it just a little bit. So now it's just understanding, I guess, if that workaround's working, how necessary it is to onboard. I think we have an obligation on the indoor arena because that's where your maintenance department's at.
And that workaround was just for the showworks. Yeah.
well, the hardest part is gonna be getting the maintenance department, isn't it? After there, it's a route to get it everywhere else out there on the Rock Creek.
Maintenance is the easiest one, because it's got the line of sight to the courthouse. So where the tower's at on the agriplex, there's no line of sight to the courthouse, so we can't connect the 2, unless there's a fiber line and there's not. So,
But once you got the indoor arena, you should have the point-to-point access from the indoor arena to the 2 buildings. So
right,
it shouldn't be as costly.
but you have to start at basically, the indoor arena, you have to start there.
Yeah. No,
There's no other option, but, if it was, I'll include myself in this, what we heard was there was a need to do it now. And if that's the need, we're going to need to use fair funding to help offset that. If it's not a need today, I think we can get, I think I'm talking to myself, I think we can get the,
Ag extension.
What section are you in? Click back. Admin hard hearing. We're digging for
We're digging. We got it, we just dig it.
Am I correct, though, that this was years ago, this was something that was in the process of happening when Agriflex came? So it's a combination of adding ShowWorks as well as having an extension educator and a fair manager who are wanting and willing to collaborate, right? So there's many facets, it's not just,
Right.
we have a new program, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
It's the,
the urgency of it was the program. That created the urgency. The discussion in the background is long-lasting, but it was going to be phased. Similar to the library, now the library's on board. The phased approach was going to be the indoor arena, potentially the year after, agriplex, potentially year after. I mean, it's a long phased project, but the urgency came when Jenny and Hannah were here talking about ShowWorks not working and having
So
to be onboarded. So my question is, the bare bones of it is how urgent is it to the fair board that the Agriplex be onboarded?
Well, what's the timeframe of urgency versus,
At least a year. So what I've been able to build in here is that that the indoor arena be onboarded and nothing else. But if we want to add something else, I'm going to need to have a discussion about using some fair funding to do it. Or offset some other things in the fair budget so that we can add to the IT budget. Does that make sense?
So currently is ShowWorks working like they needed to work with their workaround?
Pre-sale, it is functioning. I was just talking to Hannah out in the hall, and they are basically doing a daily, from a jump drive to the main computer, which is in Jenny's office, just a daily swap of data. And some of the weights that were entered from Hannah didn't convert over, so then they just had to hand type those in. So when it works really, really great. When it doesn't, the daily dumping, then obviously it doesn't, and it's a deal, it's just extra work. The urgency is still there for the night of the sale.
but could that even happen in time for this? When we say urgent, is that?
It's a good question.
It's a
I don't
good
know if you
question.
can get, I don't know if you can get IT components that quickly. They're tough to find.
I don't think it can happen, but when I talk urgent, I'm talking next year's sale. Because if we appropriate this July, I mean, it sounds weird, but it's government urgency, right? So if we appropriate this July and it's installed in the fall, we're gearing up for next year's sale. So I'm looking 1 year out. That's what I'm looking at. And if it is a necessity to have it onboarded by that time, I think we have to do the Agriplex at the same time. Because the way we understood it, the brain has to sit in the Agriplex, so to get it, the information out, you have to link Agriplex and the indoor arena.
There may be another option to do a cloud deal during the sale, so Hannah was here, maybe she could speak better to it, but there might be another option to do a cloud version just for a couple months in which you pay by the minute, I think, but it's not like a terribly expensive expense, and we've already kind of talked as a sale committee that we would be willing to pay that, that fee, just so that way we could have it on the cloud during the sale and probably a month thereafter.
So I think that's probably gonna have to be something that you guys decide if that's what you wanna do, because we're not gonna be able to get the
Yeah, I think we're,
system up
as
and
a
running
committee,
like
it's
fair.
pretty much whatever we have to do to make it run smoothly, so it doesn't turn into a mess.
So in this budget, we have planned to onboard the indoor arena.
Indoor arena.
If there's a need to have more onboarded before next year's fair, we need to have that conversation in this budget.
I think, if I understand correctly from Jenny though, for one of her concerns though, is what is happening in Agriplex, like the Total Spring Show, events that are happening there, vendor fairs where they're needing credit card readers or things like that. So beyond just fair, as the Agriplex use.
Yeah, you're gonna, I mean, if you're gonna onboard one, I mean, you gotta maybe try to figure out the budget to onboard both at the same time, so you're not so you can get both of them within that year and then add. If it takes another year to onboard the next building, but I think the indoor arena and the Agriplex are the main components out there.
Right. So, and I think what I'm getting from Molly is the general fund should do it, which I would agree with, but it's going to have to be phased. That's what I'm going back to, so that's why I asked the question of urgency.
That's what I had you highlight.
If we want it within the next year, I'm going to need some help to do it.
What's the total?
That's where I'm at.
Right here, 15,300 for all three of them. Yeah.
Does that make
What's
sense?
the total for those two? Just for these two?
I get what you're saying, but
18,400, 18,400.
Or cut 35,000 from somewhere else in the budget. Those are two options.
But it isn't 35,000 in the next year, right? That's the total, that's for all the buildings.
So if we're gonna do the indoor arena and the agriplex, it would be 18.4
Mhm.
in the next year. And we've budgeted for the indoor arena, which is 9. So we're
9-4.
9.4 short. But I would agree with that it's not all the fair board's responsibility, because all those other uses of the agriplex
Right.
aren't all your responsibility, like the shows that you were talking about where they need card readers and things like that, so,
And I agree with that, and I think I just said that
yeah.
there would be a plan in fiscal year 28 to then onboard the agriplex, but if there was that urgency because of show work's not working the way it was designed,
We don't know, we have a runaround right now, but we don't know if that's gonna be the full-fledged fix to it, if that's gonna work. It works now, but if we're on the network, we know it would work. So the urgency's still on. We have a backup plan without the network, but.
Pencil and paper,
Huh?
pencil and paper.
Yeah.
Of the top 3 that I had Jordan kind of prioritize for what, the needs were, and the arena building, agriplex, and ag extension. And ag extension is the cheapest of the 3. The onboard, it's at 6,300. So it's the cheapest of the 3. The other 2, one's 9, one's 94.5. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, and doesn't each one of those show like a receiver or something? There's some of those that are, I think, costs that are duplicated on there. That you- it's
Well, you talking about battery backups, or you talking about access points, or?
maybe access points, because if each one has, there was something on there that appeared a little duplicated, because you wouldn't need to go from like the extension to the agriplex, correct? Do they all go to?
Maybe that's the bridges. Is that the bridges?
Maybe something
Molly?
like that, yeah, I don't know.
This
there
is
was
above
something-
my head.
You probably have radios at each one of the buildings.
But it wasn't like you needed to connect the web to all of them, correct? They all go to the
You get a
indoor,
point to multi-point access point, so you have your multi-point on the indoor arena and then everything pointing back to the indoor arena.
Right.
If I-
And I would think that's what the quote
but and
shows.
the extension office would not be on ours, correct?
No,
No.
and then, I'm assuming these are the crow's nests.
I don't know. I don't know if it's this or this.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
So you talked about the crow's nest, 2 different ones?
Yeah, you got arena 1 and arena 2.
Yeah, that'd be.
That's crow's nest?
That's what I'm assuming, I mean, that's hanging out there to even have a network connected to, so,
And then the event building is the old
exit hall.
exhibit hall.
Why would it need to be on there? Is there a need that exhibit
I
hall?
think it was just an overall quote of,
I think he was doing everything out there, just not
You're
getting an
aware.
access point to us.
Do you guys see a need for
As
that?
far as I'm concerned, the 2, I mean, we haven't had any network, the 2 arenas, I mean, in time theory, yes, but as far as urgency right now, I don't think they're in urgency right now, no. I mean, most people have their, they're running computers out of there or whatever, iPad, they're either on the cloud or they have their on their own.
They're just Wi-Fi and
Yeah,
whatever they
they're
need.
Wi-Fi or on their own data, but they're running an event out there that's not us running the event.
So what does it look like for you guys if we do the indoor arena and that's all, this go around?
We're still, we're still where we're at now.
And is it the show works is the biggest issue?
for, I mean, if you're doing the indoor arena, my understanding that's just one, then that's just gonna apply to 1 week versus the agriplex, all the events that happen throughout the year, vendor shows, correct?
well, it would also be that maintenance office will be connected.
I'm sorry, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
But in terms of order of operations, the indoor arena has to be first, just because it has line of sight. So whether it's the highest priority is somewhat irrelevant, because it's the
It's
only
step
one
one.
that can connect at this point.
You're right.
I guess the question for us is if we want to do the agriplex or can do the agriplex, how much would you guys contribute to getting that done?
Put a bucket by the door. Somebody with a guitar and a hat.
Volunteering.
Nobody pay me.
Maybe they pay to stop.
That's a good tactic. That's a very good tactic.
and I know these quotes are probably the higher end stuff, you never know what the future's gonna bring, but it's, the wireless bridges, I think we can cut back to one per building. That'll save you $800 right there. The access points are more for, cause the guy I work with at work, he used to be IT for the whole college of Oregon, so he kinda knows the ins and outs of everything on this. So just from my rough knowledge, it said you can have the one wireless bridge, you can have your main, multi-point and then have individual points on each building, so you don't have to have two for every line of sight that you need, so there won't be 10 or 12 of them on the arena. The arena will be one there and everything will point back to it. Access points, it all depends on the size of the building, 'cause that's like your Wi-Fi signal and all that stuff. Your 48 point switch, all depends on what you want to, how much is in there to plug into as far as your Ethernet ports and all that stuff, and what your future growth is for it, so, I mean, if you're gonna have future growth, you probably want a bigger switch in the agriplex, I don't know if you need.
48.
I don't know if it's gonna take them. And then the labor might come back cheaper, I don't know, it might not take them as long as what you guys recommend there, so. It's in there.
I shared a quote with, or, yeah, another quote with Commissioner Baker too, of supplies that gave ranges of, you want lower, or up to higher, and all of that, so some differences, but all of that kind of fell in the same range.
But I think in this budget, we're committed to getting the indoor arena hooked up. If we need to talk about getting that agriplex hooked up, and our quote currently is $94.50
To get the agriplex back into.
to get the agriplex at these
The other
quantities
$9,000
of
is coming out
things.
of the general fund to get the maintenance building on board, or the maintenance office, I guess.
So you guys have funds that's just at your discretion?
Yeah.
Well, are you willing to use any of those to get the agriplex hooked up?
That's-
And I'm not saying, are you willing to give us the 9,400 to do it, or, I mean,
Are
I'm
we willing
saying,
to do
there's-
some?
is it,
Yeah, I think if, I mean, there's,
so if we have that number, then we can go back and look to see if we can find out the remainder of what we need. I think that's what you're looking for right now. And maybe that's a decision you guys can't make, sitting here.
yeah,
We need to know by the end of
the quote's been 3 different numbers now, so.
I'd say guaranteed somewhere south of 40 and somewhere north of 10.
Yeah, I know you're not gonna be under 10,
I mean, it's just,
and the cost of everything's going up, I get that.
yeah, right now it's like it's a really hard time to get IT stuff, really hard. The computers are like twice as expensive as they usually are, and if you can get them in 6 months, it's kind of a surprise.
When do you need a decision?
Well,
4 hours.
I mean, yeah.
Well, our meeting's on Monday, so we can bring it back to our quote.
And one thing we could do is wait through the sale, similar to the library, wait through the sale, see how it goes, see how the workaround went.
And the other
And
thing
then-
with the sale too is if we have to do it old school and not let buyers or anything pay that night, then so be it. I mean, I don't think the sale's just not gonna function just because we don't have, you know, so-and-so paid here and there. If we just have to keep track of sold for this, we'll send out those later, then
I know it's kind of a
fine.
crappy thing to sacrifice, so, cause like if you make it easy to pay, then
Yeah.
that's like the first thing.
But wait through the sale, see how it goes, and then should we decide by next fair this needs to be done, I would say really no later than September 1st to know. That way,
Well, that'll be the, yeah.
because we'll have to do a public hearing for a budget amendment if that's the case. Because we're increasing a fund from a fund. So we have to do a public hearing, but it's not insurmountable. So your deadline would be September 1, if you want the Agriplex onboarded before next fair.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna need it this year, so wait till after fair and see what kind of kinks we have to work out. Okay. Yeah, not saying we won't wanna, I mean, if we comes down to it and we absolutely have to, that's the way we gotta go, but I'd like to see where we sit at first.
Yeah, we can work it that way. Anything else for the fair and the library?
Yes, thank you. I cannot say enough good things about maintenance and the flood situation. They were, Mackenzie and those teenagers were Johnny on the spot, helping us throw books. I mean, they were very impressive, and we all used some muscles, and it, honestly, maintenance has been spot on with this whole thing, so thank you very much. It's gonna never end, but
Yeah, we're looking at a quote for a whole new roof
How
for the
much?
library. What was it, 60?
well, it's not as bad as I thought. It is necessary.
Yeah, you just can't
No.
go on year after year after year without maintaining these old
I
buildings.
hear water running now and I'm like, where is it?
That's right. Sometimes it's nice to see water running,
We saw plenty.
but just not inside the building. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Posey, do you have this? This is what you're working on.
Well, yeah.
Okay. I'm just making sure we're working off the same pieces of paper.
Yeah, WildLogic, yeah. That's the one that's in there.
Okay.
We're all looking at the same numbers, so,
Because if we're not, then
I mean, I know we can save,
Who's your buddy that?
I think I saw it last week,
Chris or Ben.
said send it to the other email, and then I didn't see it, so.
And I ran it by him, I was like,
Yeah, I
that's
did.
shit. So,
You almost have to say.
No, I would have done the same.
I was just curious, you know, because I've heard three different numbers. and I
Until
was
we
like, well,
met.
what are we looking at for?
And then I think it
In
should,
your opinion on what?
But that's a good
your
question to
review on
ask.
all this, what would you?
yeah.
Part of that deal was like, I
I would have done the same.
like all the security stuff and,
Yeah, so it's all now into.
you know, so I don't,
Mhm.
it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
But I appreciate it.
You guys know each other, right?
I think we can save a couple dollars here and there. I don't think it's a lot, but I think if you cut down on the wireless bridges, it'd be your
I don't know how.
Yes.
What you
The
get.
way he explained it, it sounded like we didn't need a point reference, we could have a one building pointing back to the main source. So instead of having two for every spot, so one building would have however many points it had.
Yeah. I don't think there's really
There, well, it'd be the wireless bridge, yes.
Yeah, they're like $80 for a break.
That's
That's what I'm
quoting 800 and two of them, so $1,600 a bill, or $1,600 a point, so if you can save
Yeah.
two different points for the estimators or 6 figures or a couple grand, cut down once you get there. Thank you guys.
Thanks. Malcolm, is Guernsey Rural having their own budget hearing this year?
What?
Is Guernsey Rural having their own?
Well, I messed up, it was supposed to say Guernsey Rural, not Tura.
Oh,
Yeah.
Is what,
I was gonna say, I hope not.
no, but Guernsey Rural did put their newspaper notice in, so it's Guernsey Rural.
Very nice.
It's the same Patty Small, but a different district. I do a resolution for the 26 budget.
Here we have Platte County Resolution 26-10, amendment to the 2025-2026 budget. Whereas Platte County has received unanticipated revenue in the sum of $242,540.30, as reflected in the following revenue accounts. Insurance payments, $65,3597. Other anticipated revenue, $74,487.40. Acceptance agreements, $26,361.90. Detention collections, federal, $17,538.58. State grants, $23,000. Sales tax, $94,616.45. Whereas the budget of the general fund may be increased by resolution pursuant to Wyoming State Statute 164113, and now therefore be it resolved by the governing body of Platte County, Wyoming, that the following accounts be amended as follows. Commissioner mileage, $864.13. Commissioner litigation, $31,155.50. Sheriff canine operations, $2,600. Sheriff vehicles, $6,535.97. Sheriff's new equipment, $10,112.06. Clerk of court costs, $20,860.07. Facilities building maintenance, $23,158.77. Facilities jail maintenance, $7,426.52. Planner supplies, $1,051.18. Planner contract services, $34,112. State grants, makerspace, $13,000. State grants, public health, chronic health, $10,000. Dispatch, holiday and overtime, $23,861.90. Public health supplies, $140. Public health donations, $1,700. Election supplies, $2,500. Election new equipment, $53,462.20. Given our hand on this seal, this 7th day of July, 2026.
This is one of, we've done 2 budget amendment resolutions in the past few years. One in December, so the midway point, then one in July to close out 26. It's just a, really a balancer, is all it serves as. So there's just financial decisions made throughout the fiscal year based on how revenues come in. And that's the result of those decisions. Is some of those have to be amended.
So I would move to approve resolution 2026-10, amending the fiscal year 26 budget.
Question. That Public Health FRC, that's Family Resource Center, Malcolm? Okay, then I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 2026-10, amending the fiscal year 26 budget. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. And then, do you have a community service block grant application?
I do. It's from Penny.
Not tens.
It's for the Community Service Block Grant, CSPG. It's primarily what pays the FRC coordinator and a little bit of direct care, but it's a grant that the county used to administer. Reporting is so burdensome that we gave it up eons ago, but Community Action of Laramie County administers it on our behalf. So she's just seeking to apply, but there's a $3,000 increase from the previous year.
And the amount's $28,000.
Yep.
Okay, I would consider a motion to approve the grant application for the community service block grant.
I'd move to approve the grant application for the community service block grant.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the grant application for the community service block grant. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
I think that's.
Anything else? No.
No, not for now.
Our public hearing is scheduled for 10, so we'll wait till 10 to, in case anybody wants to show up and participate. Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Cindy.
Here's, I do want to give you, this is the expenditure report after the amendments are made. Just to show you what the ending fiscal year balances are. And then Chris has asked to jump in with a encroachment license.
Everything under budget.
Chris has an encroachment license.
Yes, sir. It's just, one's for, on North Dwyer, they're, just fixing an existing approach. Yeah, to further the rest of the house, but we want to get that knocked out so I can get over to planning.
What road's it on?
Sorry?
What road?
Dwyer, North Dwyer.
person, is that Dwyer?
Thanks, Chris.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Did you get your tank to stop leaking, Ted?
I got the stuff. I'm trying to work up the courage to try and put it all in there. We'll see.
Don't want to lose any water this year.
Yeah, I drained it out, so it shouldn't be losing any more.
Although maybe you'd get some grass to grow right around there where it was leaking. Okay, we have a public hearing scheduled for the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget. We have the Guernsey Rural Fire Department, Wild Ranch Improvement Service District, and the Platte County budget. So we will start with the Guernsey Rural Fire District.
The I think you guys got copies of the proposed budget there. It's very, very close to our budget from last year. There have been, a couple people questioned why with the changes in property tax, that it hadn't affected our budget much. That's primarily because most of our mill levy money comes from industrial sources, from the tank farm and the pipelines and railroad and some of those things, and they're not really affected. So our mill levy will remain pretty close to the same. Also, you'll note in there that we didn't budget anything based on the award that Industrial Siding provided. Because at this point, we have no idea whether NextEra is gonna actually get anything started. And if so, how exactly that money is going to be distributed, whether or not any of that money will be available to us ahead of time, or whether we're gonna have to come up with everything just from our own budget, and then be reimbursed at a later date. Because our budget really doesn't support the expenditure of $90-some thousand out of that directly. So we didn't try to budget for it. We're kind of waiting to see what further happens. Is there anything in that you guys particularly have questions about?
Looks like you guys got all the, looks like you got a good list. I mean, you thought through it pretty well. What do we have to
This
spend?
has been kind of
Yeah,
standard for us. We've been using this same format now for, 10 years, I
Yeah.
think. And it works out pretty well for us. We compared, Patty compared last year's budget, actual expenditures with the budget. The expenditures were very close. I think there were 2 categories where we had spent a significantly different amount than from what was in the budget. Generally speaking, it was pretty close. Any other questions?
So at this time, I'll open it up for public comment. Do we have any public comment on Jersey Rural's just fire district's budget? No public comment. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Okay, we'll move on to the Wyo Ranch Improvement and Service District budget.
All right, our budget's pretty easy, pretty straightforward from last year as well. I think the only increase we have is with some weed spraying. When we got the invoice for that, it was a little bit more, so we increased that budget for that dollar amount. Everything else is pretty much exactly the same as the year before. We have maintenance assessment on the street, so that's not based on any taxes or anything like that. That's been set for 10 years for the same dollar amount to come in. We'll look at that after the end of 10 years, but I can't think of anything. We're gonna do some crack sealing. That's been 5 years, so we need to do that, but that's in the amount that we've allotted for in that figure. Anything else that you think of?
well done.
This one's pretty,
The grand finale of all you guys' hard work.
Yeah.
There you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, just, I provided this clarification last year, but I wanna make sure it's clear, this isn't a mill levy. So when you set mills in August, you'll notice Wild Ranch is not one of them. As an improvement district, they can charge an assessment, a special assessment. Number of ways to determine it, but I think it was 3 years ago already, they set a 10-year collection of assessments. They had a couple of options. The first round, they bonded.
Yep.
And then I think it was 20 years to collect on the bond.
I believe so.
And then this round shows an annual assessment, really more for upkeep as opposed to needing a lot of capital at once. So, this is an assessment just on those folks who live there based on their, how many feet of road frontage they have. And it's just to maintain those roads.
Okay, I'll open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment on the Wild Ranch Improvement Service District budget? Hearing none, we'll close it to public comment. Thank you, guys. Okay, we'll move on to the county's budget.
So normally, I'd like to wait to read my message before this afternoon's portion. Because we'll have a discussion later today about the budget itself at 11:30. And go through each department, determine if there's any changes necessary. We've got a few things in flux. But really the purpose of this time is just to accept public comment on the budget. The proposed budget was in the newspaper online to allow the public opportunity to look and see what's out there.
So at this time, I'll open it up to public comment. Do we have any public comment on the county budget?
Just a quick question, Malcolm, when did you have that in the paper? What paper was it, cause I couldn't hear it.
It would be the Record Times, and I think it was June 17th was the day that it published.
June.
It has to be 15 days before the meeting, which ours is precarious with our meetings being on Tuesday and our paper running on Wednesday, so you have to put it in 1 week ahead of that.
June 17th, is that what you said?
I believe that was the day. It was either the 10th or the 17th, but one of those was the proclamation and one was the budget.
And the budget was there?
Yeah.
Is the complete budget online as well?
The notice of hearing with the departments, the by-line version is not, there's a public copy in the clerk's office for public review though.
Any additional public comment?
Quick question, maybe this would be better for, the 11:30 discussion, but off the top of your head, what percentage of the total budget comes from residential property taxes? What is that percent?
It is, I will tell you,
You have it broke down,
I do.
just residential.
So
Just the residential,
if you talk total, if you talk,
do you have a total?
just residential.
yeah,
I
so
don't think to do that part,
Okay,
but
yeah.
to show where those go then.
Yeah, you're on the other
So-
side of it, yes.
just residential, it depends on how you define it. If it's for the total budget, it's 7.1%. If you take, and this is based off last year's numbers because we don't have this year's budget or value certified. So based on last year's numbers, if you take the CDBG grant, which was the $1 million 16th Street grant, and the SPET project, which was the courthouse renovation out, the residential value was 8.1% of the budget. If you only looked at general fund obligations, so you took out stuff like 911 and SCARF that the legislature has said can only be used for that. Can't use it for any other purposes besides those, it'd be 9.2%. So anywhere from 7 to 9 based on how you figure it.
Thank you.
Any additional public comment? Okay, we'll close it to public comment. We'll be considering the adoption of the budget at 1:45 this afternoon, so.
And at 11:30, I'd like to go through and just hit every department and see if you all have any changes or Anything you wanna adjust?
So we'll move on to the sheriff. We'll go ahead of schedule, but this might take long, so.
I have a feeling this one, 30 minutes was not enough.
Yeah, we probably need to get Captain Kerwin over here, he's kind of spearheading this project with our nursing, so you got it?
And I don't have Melanie online yet, but okay.
Yeah, that's also another question. I was good with punctual. Yeah, so you have Mel's contact, or you have?
I sent her the link for the Zoom meeting, and she responded that she'd be up there. But the link said 10:30.
I didn't know.
So real quick, before we get started, Tony, I had a call from Alan's Parts also about the discussion last time when we were talking about maintenance of sheriff's vehicles, and I think we owe them an apology, because I think there was some misinformation put out there in regard to the service that we got from them in the past, so.
Okay.
Which brings me to, we're trying to make the best decisions that we can up here, and we can only rely on the information that you guys bring to us, so I would hope that that information is accurate so that we can make the best decisions in the future, so. I think I asked if we'd ever looked at other providers in the county, such as Allen's Parts, and I think Ward said that they didn't get good service at Allen's Parts the last time, but after they called Malcolm and they also called me, we really haven't done anything with them for quite a number of years, so.
Yeah, I won't, more best. Make sure I apologize for it. We'll make it right.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
You're back.
Meeting after meeting.
Are we still waiting for somebody?
There's there will be somebody that they've invited to provide some information, but I think we can tee it up and talk about what's going on. We have to be somewhat careful to avoid an executive session, of course, because it involves an employee. Suffice it to say, I think the best way to put it is that, trying to think how best to say it, that obviously the jail is obligated under state law to provide necessary medical care, and that's where the statute ends. It doesn't elaborate as to what necessary is, to what extent, and the three cases that have been litigated on that statute really are just about whose responsibility it is to pay for what type of care. Doesn't say what the jail had to offer or anything like that, but the legal advice that I think I could say publicly, that really it is sufficient to have an RN on staff. It's preferable to have somebody that is reviewing that information, and I think there's some options out there, but we're in a bit of a quandary right now where we've got to find some medical provider, and quickly, to ensure continued medical care. But what else do you guys wanna add to it?
You know, it's, like you say, it's kind of a lot of things to say about it, but what you can actually say, you know, is tough. But yes, the biggest portion is, and I kind of stress, expedience as much as we can and try to figure this out.
So I think,
So currently you have an RN on staff, but they're out for one reason or another.
she is an LP.
Yeah, we have
LPN.
an LPN.
And you're wanting to get an RN on staff, is that what your ultimate goal is?
That's what the goal is.
And I think there's a distinction between a short-term and long-term goal. Short-term is to get an RN. Long-term is it to formalize a medical provider who has medical assistants who are doing the day-to-day, and that provider is reviewing, or is it contracting with a company? So the basics of it are the sheriff's office, the sheriff's tasked with this, so the sheriff's gonna have to tell us what he needs. We're gonna have to determine what's financially feasible.
So what do you need and what's it gonna cost?
You're not gonna like the cost, but yeah, short term, like I said, we're gonna need an RN. We're gonna need somebody to provide that medical care. And then long term, yes, it would be wonderful to have a provider, something that we can not have to go through this kind of situations, you know, down the road.
So when you say provider, are there specific providers that just work with detention centers that you're talking about, or is this?
There are contract providers, those are incredibly expensive, like,
$1 million a year.
Yeah.
So there are several companies that do different levels of it, where they have MDs and they hire, they fire, they do all of the management of the staff, where it would be, they just contract us to provide a service. And then there's some that, other options that we can basically employ our own, but have a oversight similar to like public health. Does with like Dr. Beasley and stuff now, like we would have somebody that would review the program, but the employees would still be ours. Each come with its own costs, its benefits, its downfalls, right? I mean,
So do you have some proposals for?
we got a gal that's supposed to jump on a Zoom meeting with us here. She's a local, she's out of Guernsey, but she operates the training side, right, Mel?
Yes.
Okay, it's the training for one of these, contract companies that do a traveling nurse program for detention centers. And they have a lot of, knowledge on what's required, what it takes, what it needs, and she's been helping us work through some of the proposals and the ideas of what we need, both short-term and long-term. Short-term right now is we just need somebody to fill a hole to keep us moving, and then the long-term plan is obviously gonna take a lot more thought and time to put something together and find the best option, but
but I think we're really looking at a point now where we waited too long on the long term. We need to really start formulating what we gotta do, because you find out sometimes the hard way that you're not ready, and I don't wanna be that way.
what's the liability? It's like, so we have to provide care, so how much day-to-day stuff does the LPN do?
So
Without drugs and
she starts her day out with setting up medications for morning med pass. She sets all the external doctor's appointments. She's the primary contact between our government contracts for all their medical stuff, so she's setting up, getting approval for appointments through them. She refills, or she sends the request for refills on prescription medications, and then she does assessments on all the new inmates. And there's some case law out there and some stuff that we have to look at. They're supposed to have an assessment within 7 to 14 days. And then she is the medical assistant for the providers that will come to the jail to see them. So she's in there with them while they're doing their thing.
Okay.
I'll tell you, since I've been doing part of her job and helping, I didn't think she did that much work. There's a lot of work that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's a form for this or a form for that, then you gotta wait, and then you gotta recontact them to make sure they got the form. It's It's definitely a 40-hour-a-week job, if not more.
So currently, we have 70,000 in the medical care line item. Where does that go?
So that goes into the way the statutes are written, it goes into certain medical care for the inmates, so if they're injured in the facility due to certain reasons, then we have to cover the cost. So with that, we take all of our most of our medical supplies come out of that line item. And then the miscellaneous appointments that would be costs for them to go, it's on us to pay for it.
So any illness or injury or anything that happens during incarceration or in our custody, we're responsible for. There's a bill on it.
If it's a
And that's where that-
pre-existing condition, then they're responsible for it.
So like any doctor's appointments or anything like that, that's what that 70,000 covers?
Yes.
That
And
and certain medical
Medications.
supplies and medications. So we order a Tylenol or ibuprofen or over the counters. If they slip and fall, I mean, that's kind of on us. If the floors aren't in good shape or trip, then we've got to pay for it. Usually, and I can say this just for the last 4 years, we don't expend every dollar out of that budget. Our nurse was very frugal with spending and did a very good job keeping that full just in case.
so that line item is probably adequate the way it is for what you use it for?
I believe so.
So we're talking about personnel or contract
It'd be
labor?
personnel or contract labor, yeah. So we did reach out to a contract company a couple weeks ago, and they sent us kind of a quote for what it would cost. It's about $77 an hour for an LPN, it's $85 an hour for an RN to come in. And they'd be on a rotational deal, it would be 13 weeks to 6 months, instead of extending not that far. We'd be constantly rotating people, and
And that's the short-term plan?
that would be a short-term plan.
I guess there's multiple short-term plans that we can do. We have advertised to see if we can get any interest in hiring our own RN. And on a temporary basis, we've had 0 on it. And I think a lot of that's just the pay, right? Like, most RNs are gonna go do, if they're gonna do this traveling stuff, they're gonna wanna go make the traveling money.
Making 6 figures a year traveling.
This contract company that he's talking about is gal that's gonna hop on here in a minute, Melanie Gima, she actually lives in Guernsey, and she operates part of that program where they have traveling nurses that go from facility to facility around the country, and they contract with them. They're in charge of finding them, they're in charge of putting them here, they're in charge of doing all of the stuff, and we tell them what we require, and then they provide us a service. So they manage all of the personnel, they manage all of the day-to-day stuff as far as the nursing goes, and all the reviews, all the insurance parts of it.
And then are those contracts on an hourly basis?
They would be on an hourly basis, so if we done 40 hours a week, we'd be on the hook for that 85 times 40, or whatever they put in, right? And it looks like she might have
Yeah, I sent her a text.
came in here, so we can, she's going to have a lot better information for us than I can do it, so. If you wanna, I guess, hear what her little spiel is, and she had some good information for us, just in the helpful side of things on how we kinda need to maybe push forward and what we need to do, whether it's with them or somebody else or anything like that. She's taken a pretty good stance for us as far as helping us work through this instead of just trying to stuff something down our throat and make it our, sell it to us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can, thank you.
We're just getting a little background from the sheriff's department on kind of their needs as far as medical for the detention center. Why don't you introduce yourself and kind of tell us what your ideas are on this subject?
Sure, so good morning, everybody. Morning, that's our ambulance.
What are your recommendations for staffing?
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. So what are your recommendations for staffing? That's the question, is how do we pay for it?
Yeah.
Which is a question to you. So. What kind of a total cost are we looking at? Roughly. So what other plans do you have, Sheriff, to be able to fix this problem?
Well, I mean, our temporary is to try to find some RNs that are willing to work for
Nothing.
nothing.
Work for that.
We've really got, not a bite on that one, so. That's why we're here, I guess, swallow the pride and ask for help wherever we can and see what we can do, but yeah, it's definitely a situation that needs to be addressed and soon. Cause our short-term ideas are.
What's the anticipated revenue from the detention center in the next year?
It's gonna depend on
our federal contracts, so they're still trying to fill us up, but. yeah,
Where are
it's-
we at currently, Malcolm?
So in this fiscal year, 0.
Yeah.
And,
Because we just started.
yeah, in last fiscal year, it was, I can't remember, 1.4, and that million is based off the average daily population being 30 US Marshals, or federal inmates, I should say.
So the 1.4 was estimated,
1.4 was actually collected,
and what was estimated, the million?
800 last year. In this fiscal year, we're estimating 1 million. And if we stay at 26, I think we will be just shy. Because what's the daily rate now?
93.
Yeah. Because if you, 93 times 365, times daily rate, that's your annual for housing. 880, and that's at the 30. So that 840 that I put up there doesn't, or 880 doesn't include any of the transportation fees, of course, that's just housing. So that's where I've been talking, that in the last few years, we've been very fortunate, and it's gone over many, many years.
And that's what we've used to do the upgrades and the odd remodels. But I think we're gonna have to seriously look at dedicating some of that money to medical, because I don't know of any other place that it can come from.
And the tough part is our budget's kinda set with the contracts that we have and the obligations that we've all set up, right? So cutting some of that isn't, I guess, gonna be an easy thing. Not adding to it's obviously one, but we already have committed to certain things that maybe we could have repurposed, but at this point, we're kind of where we're at on those.
Like what?
Like all the taser payments and those type of things. Like we have certain contracts that are obligatory, so we can't even cut some new equipment costs or anything to cover that. Add 3 more people.
You want-
Add 3 more people, like 33 instead of 30 makes the difference-ish. Kind of, you know.
Well, I think we would take them, it's just a matter of,
Are they available?
Yeah,
you know, the movie,
we'll take all we can get.
the movie promised if we built it, they would come.
Is there any type of grant funding that you can apply for to help pay for medical costs?
And unfortunately, this is an area of all of it that we can't ignore, right? Like the medical side's a huge liability, and we're gonna have to figure out in other areas where we can do without to make sure that this part's covered, because we don't get a choice here, I guess. That's what I was gonna say, Ward, I don't see very many corners you can hide in here. It's like you have to have this because the option is, we're carrying the statute says we carry liability, and so how do you deal with that in the cheapest way we can? And it's an RN, which is like $100,000 a year or whatever it is, you know, but that compared to like $1 million in a lawsuit or something, or whatever, that's expensive. And so I think you're right. I think the answers are really easy. It's how you get there is really hard. And, I mean, we're gonna have to, at a level, do what we have to do internally and budgetarily to help cover that. But I know that even if we scraped everything extra we had, it's still not gonna be there, right? You guys I mean, might start handing out a boot. Yeah. You know?
We don't wanna take fire and stuff, but we're gonna have to get creative.
Right, yeah. I mean, and you're not gonna, then the other thing that forces you is that RNs are, first of all, not free, and second of all, very hard to find.
Yeah.
You know, ask Penny, how hard is it to hire an RN from somewhere? They go, I can make
Yep.
$100 an hour, all I have to do is like find another place to rent in 6 months.
Mhm.
And so,
Like I said, I know we're in a bad spot here and we're asking for a lot, I guess, at a level, but I mean, we'll do what we need to do to help cover that. I just don't know that it's there even if we wanted to, right? So Melanie, if we contracted, how long is a typical contract term?
Well, you could do it, review the contract, or you review it for years, or it's not the hard process. It was- So,
So at minimum, it sounds like there'd be no shorter contract than 1 year. Because what I'm getting at is if we were to advertise for an RN, is contracting a bridge until we get to that point, or if we contract, it sounds like we need to pull the RN employment ad until we're towards the end of this contract. That's what I'm getting.
I think that's probably a smart idea, because it sounds like Melanie's probably the only one that's comfortable with that side of it. I mean, seriously, I'd go walk in a swamp, and maybe I'll send Melanie in to see if there's any alligators in there first. But yeah, we're gonna get bit. Yeah.
So what does a typical 12-week contract dollar amount look like?
4 times 40 times 85. we don't have the knowledge for this, right? Right, But we're that's responsible exactly for right. it, so we gotta kind of lean on the folks that do know it, and that's been her at the moment. She's
Yeah.
been a huge help to us, I think. Cody and Will have been visiting with her on and off pretty regular and trying to get a plan put in place, and it's been tough to figure out exactly what we need, what it looks like, and then obviously the money comes into it. How do we get from short term to long term?
And that's where we sit, is the money
Yeah.
coming into it, and where are we
You
gonna
know.
fund it, and how much are we gonna need?
And that's the,
50,000.
No. Tanda Hicks, she's our federal inmates, and then our local providers at the NRC are local inmates. And it'll be Tanda Hicks or one of the providers at Banner. So basically, we have to set up an appointment for them to get their medications refilled or renewed. And then if they have any aches or illnesses, then they get set up for an appointment outside the facility.
set it up.
We can set it up.
Yeah.
I think at this point, that's our probably our safest option, is to at least get it
Yes.
straightened out, and then we can work long-term once we're here. I don't know what. So, guess it's
Yes.
on your desk now to decide how that looks for budget and those type of things, and how we work around that, but
I'm still trying to get an answer of how much money we're looking for.
50,000.
50,000, 100,000, a million? I mean, what are we talking? If nobody can tell me that, I can't decide how much.
Thing is, so if we hire one. So 65, if you can get somebody hired. That's
like
I think it's
100.
depending on how long we sit in this limbo too, right? If we contract, it's going to be contract rate times how many days we sit in it. We do have to do three sets of contracts to be able to get one hired, then obviously it's gonna be more expensive than if we can find somebody.
Yeah, we're $16,000 a month with a contract employee.
So if we keep, how many times do we have to push it out? I guess it's gonna be real dependent on the hiring pool and what we can find, and so if you, I don't have a hard, fast answer, I guess, that's the tough part.
We're looking at $250,000 minimum.
So easy. So, I mean, seriously, so if we go, we're $16,000 a month for 3 months, and that's some, you go, do I pay that in contract employee, or do I pay that in salary? I don't know if I wanna pay it in salary, but you might go, is it cheaper to pay somebody more? I guess that's what we're kinda here, is trying to get some ideas of what.
Unfortunately, there's not a lot of nursing candidates in
God.
Platte County.
No.
They either already are working in a facility, either at the hospital or the nursing home, or they're traveling out of town because they're
Yes.
making better money. They don't want the public health or the detention jobs because they can't make the money.
Right.
The ones that do it, God love them, because we are not making the money that we should be making.
No.
But the schedules sometimes, outweigh the pay. But in order to find a good candidate,
that's willing to do what is asked of a detention nurse, which is a lot.
Yes.
A lot more than what, and there's a lot of responsibility on them, it's gonna be tough. I mean, unfortunately, Platte County just doesn't, because there's nothing to bring other people into Platte County. I mean, you can pay a nurse, but if a husband can't get a job, they're gonna come for a couple of weeks and then they're gonna be gone, it's difficult.
So it's not that I'm like, I think we're trying to hide the idea of what it's gonna cost, it's just there's no real idea yet.
There's no
concrete, if this step doesn't work,
it's
gonna be another 50,000.
Mhm.
You know, our
Jamie,
goal
do you
here
have
is to
something?
try to bounce some things off of each other.
So if you hire an RN, do you have to pay the benefits package for the RN? If the company that you contract with, do they pay the benefit package? If you use the contracting company?
Yeah.
It depends on what they bring in, usually it's
They're just say intermediary.
It's one way or the other we pay it.
You pay the benefits either.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of that's contract labor through the travelers, right? Where they're not receiving the retirement, the health insurance and stuff.
Yeah,
That's all part of their
1099
employees.
So I
I
think,
was just wondering if you're planning on a salary, are you including benefits
Yeah.
as well? As, with contracted company, they're taking care of the benefits at that cost.
Yeah.
Where if you're doing a hire, you're gonna have to take care of benefits.
and workman's comp.
So Melanie, if we were to put out an ad employment for an RN in the detention facility, you're thinking a fair salary would be 100,000 a year. And what do you mean by? So now what's an HSA? What's that actually mean? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I think in the short term, so I think in the short term, if you guys get with Melanie and come up with some recommendations, and we'll basically have to see what we can find for funding and
Should say 77,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Penny, I think she said 57,000.
Yeah. So we did get a kind of a quote for one of these companies.
Hi.
I can send it to you.
Yeah.
you already have a quote.
I do. I just sent it to, Malcolm had it earlier this day. So I forwarded it to you all.
There you go.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Will, who sent that quote?
That was Barb, thought I sent it to you too, just a second, I can forward it to you as well.
Cause I don't think I did get it.
So I just sent a quote through a contract company, it is 77 for an RN, 85 or 77 for an LPN, 85 for an RN, it's got their, we have not committed to it, nothing, it's just a quote from them. I believe it's on page, it'll be several pages down, it breaks down the cost, what it's going to cost.
But that's for a traveling company?
That is for the traveling company to come in and do it.
And not if we, I mean, that's not necessarily.
It was sent to you too, Malcolm.
So, yeah, I think Steve's point is develop a game plan and then today at 11:30, we'll work through and see what we can put towards it, but
What new equipment you guys can do with that?
and then
11:30, that's like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
we'll have to be back here at the next meeting. And hopefully there's a good plan in place with some numbers associated.
I think it's gonna be 150,000 if you can get somebody hired. Easy.
Like I said, not that we were trying to hide the fact of what it's gonna.
No,
cost,
it's
just,
hard to know.
So much unknown and how much we got. I mean, if we only got 20,000 to work with, then we gotta start looking at options that only allow that, right? If we have a little more, we can work through some of the things, so.
Right.
Just trying to figure out what we kinda had and what we don't, and
What we need is, once you guys have to determine the scope, here's what we have to have. And I hate to put it this way, it's gonna have to be the minimum. This is the minimum requirement. Because when we're looking at 150 or more, that's a chunk. So we can't shop for the Cadillac this fiscal year, right?
agreed.
We're gonna have to shop for the Ford Escort, but there's no doubt that we need an Escort, right? So
As long as it's a used one.
so whether that's
So
getting
we tried to
some,
explore as many options as we could right now, just to get an idea of what it all looks like, right?
But I think I'd take Melanie's up on her offer to help you guys work through.
Oh, absolutely,
what you
yeah.
need, and
I'll work with her.
I really appreciate that.
That's,
Yeah. But in the meantime, we'll try to figure out where we can come up with some funding for at least the short term.
Thank you, Melanie. It's been, you can't replace good advice, so thank you.
Of course,
Anything else?
Hopefully not. Yeah, that's the goal. What's the goal to do this either? Here we are, right?
Maybe it's cheaper to farm her in our residents over across the street out to somebody else and shut the building down.
You can't.
then what do we do with it? Record Times need a new office?
Police
I've
department's
heard
looking
that
for
they
one.
do, but we're researching our options, Malcolm.
Oh, okay.
It's not great views.
What?
There's not great views over
Oh,
there.
We got your rec center. Already has a rec room.
It's got a basketball hoop.
And timeout rooms.
Timeout.
Like a daycare, yeah.
You can draw on the walls and it washes right off. There you go.
Thanks, Melanie, and the sheriff and his crew will be in touch with you to see what they can come up with and what you guys can work out. We'll look through the budget and see where we can find, what we can find.
Thank you, Jess.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. It's Tuesday again.
And at least Malcolm said a Ford Escort, not a Ford Pinto.
Yeah. Get the new version of it.
Yeah.
Easily.
get hit in the rear end.
We still ahead of schedule?
We might have to get a used bike.
I
No, just
can't,
checking, 11:30, no.
I can see spending more money.
I think it'll be interesting, that was had that, but by somebody for 2 years.
Make sure we're.
$16,000 a month is just really expensive Band-Aid.
The question is, say if that's what you guys are seriously looking at, was the federal, because of the requirements to maintain that, would the feds be willing to pitch in towards the contract? Not even close.
We got a raise out of them last year, 2 years ago, that's about it.
That's part of the problem. It's negotiated every 3 years. They just approve it. Now, they do pay for their own medical care. We've got to have somebody on site to do that intake assessment.
Just, yeah, I just didn't know if that would be something that they would be willing to pitch in for an assessment purpose. I mean, spitballing,
Yeah,
coming back in.
I think it's great.
Their argument would be that they do because that's part of the costs we give them. So the cost they pay us is dependent upon what our costs out are. And so, the next time we go back to negotiate, our medical care cost will be quite a bit higher. So.
What about partnering with Banner? Is there anything that they would come in with on a on-call basis? I'm not trying to get you weedies, I'm just looking at things realistically.
And that's the thing that I think the sheriff needs to look into is, are there any local providers that he can contract with to?
Yeah. If they could come over here on an on-call basis only, would that be benefit for the intake purposes?
That all depends on what the statute reads, whether the medical care has to be on site or they can do it on call.
It's our liability.
Yeah.
That's it, we just have to pay for it.
But if they come over for the intake,
That's, I don't know, I mean,
And that's
public health
But
is.
that's where I say, once the sheriff's office defines the scope, and
yeah,
I think really the way to do it is if it is going to be a contract, truly put out an RFP and seek bids for it, and not just a sole source contract where we award it.
yeah.
But then, if it's hiring an RN, I think that's probably your most cost-effective route, frankly.
I absolutely agree. That's what I mean, I'm going over 50,000 every 3 months, I'm going, that gets expensive, because there's no way out.
Even if you're at 80,000 a year, you're talking roughly 150 after benefits.
Yeah, and the other thing is that you have, I think that we will have to spend that money. I think that we're going to have to spend that money with all the requirements for you should have an RN, you should have a this. I think we're gonna have to spend that money at some point. And so how much money do you spend trying to get to that decision?
It's getting to the point where, how much money do you want to spend to keep criminals off the street?
No, and that's always been the question. You know, what's the recidivism rate for these people coming in? What's, like, I know we have a couple that, another cop that rotating door, they go in, rotate around, come out, a month later, they're back in again.
Yeah, depending on the temperature outside.
Yeah. Gets too hot, let me make a crime real quick, I got AC and 3 hots in the cot.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, believe me, I arrested it.
You're like, I live that.
I've been down that road looking for the same old ones.
Okay, we'll move on to the discussion on a fence.
All right, this should be fun.
I know more about fences than I do.
That's exactly right.
And maybe Jim would come back by a long ways.
So, following last meeting, I asked Tabitha to come, say, I think it's always better than getting it third hand.
So,
Right, so, I guess what's the town's thoughts on the fence between the fairgrounds and the runway?
I think as long as it's, the 8-foot fence. Pretty sure it's 8 foot, that we have there now, and this looks like it would cover all of that.
what's the issue?
The fence that is there between the hangars and the fairgrounds, is, it's crap, there isn't even a fence there. I'd say it sits like 2 feet. down.
What's the history between the city and the 4-H board, or the fairgrounds board, fair board?
We haven't really ever had one.
So is
Never had any problems.
Is it the city's responsibility to make sure that the airport is fenced off with an 8-foot fence?
Right now, we don't own all the hangars right there, so no. but when we buy all of the hangers, it will be our responsibility too.
Okay. And I think that's been part of the issue is, you know, in this phase of the airport project, once the town owns all those, they'll be obligated to put it up, and so then the cost will be solely on them. But the fair board wants it done sooner rather than later, and we heard that last meeting where they're wanting to keep animals in.
And they're talking about a shorter fence.
But then the town was willing to pay for a portion if it went to that 8-foot. So the fair board was gonna put up the 4-foot fence, move on. Town requested 8-foot, and in lieu of that, his request is willing to pay for it.
We'll pay half,
But
that's what we figured.
the issue was that,
And ultimately, if it goes on down the road, you'll pay for all of it, right?
Yep. Yep, once we get all those hangers bought, everything, that'll be our responsibility.
so it just comes back, it's almost the identical conversation we had earlier about expediency.
We got $2.50 in the fence that we wanna build, you guys cover the rest? I mean, seriously, like $2.50 a foot will put up a fence that they want. And so I think like probably $8 or $10 to put up a fence that you guys want. So it's like $7 or $8 a foot or whatever the you know, that portion of the project.
And Debbie, can you put some color on the conversation of, because Jim had said something, I wish Jim was here, had said something about they would tie panels to the fence previously.
Yeah, so they used to tie panels to the fence, and the animals and stuff would kind of tear up the fence. And so we asked them not to do that anymore. And I mean, Jim's been really good about not tying any panels to the fence. And so I think it kind of, the tearing up of the fence kind of came from probably the fairgrounds using that for paneled and.
So when did they pin livestock up against that fence?
They were, yes,
For the rodeos?
yes.
And they were using that fence as a boundary for it, just a 3-sided.
And so they put panels up.
It's like a 4-wire fence or?
Right now, it just looks like chicken wire fence is what's out there.
You gotta keep out the rabbits, right?
Yeah, well, the deer.
So if the fair board puts up or gets a cost for a fence that's adequate for them, will you guys cover whatever in addition to that to meet your?
Just depends on the price, yeah. So I budgeted, probably roughly 7,000
How long
for
is the
the
fence?
fence.
How what?
How long is the fence? It's along that back east quarter.
Well, to,
So
Holy
this is
moly.
6-foot fence,
1,000
and that matches what we
1,000 feet.
previously have. On the other end, we have an 8-foot, but the 6-foot matches what's already there.
So can you do an 8-foot fence for $7 a foot?
Probably.
We don't typically do 8-foot fences.
No, yeah.
Business, but
What's a board run? I think it's probably $2 a board for 4 inches, and so.
so you're talking 8-foot wire fence, right?
Well, yeah,
$4 a foot for boards.
They're talking like a wire fence.
Chain link.
The game and fish.
Do you want chain link?
Maybe.
no, it was just wire, that's what we have
Just
right now.
like a woven wire fence.
Mhm. And that's what's there right now. I
Okay,
don't know if you can,
so one question I have, looking at this long term. What are the FAA requirements for a fence around an airport?
that's the 6-foot.
The 6 foot?
Yep.
so it's
So
not,
that's where it is now.
it's not a very good picture, but this is what it looks like, so it's just that square wire fencing,
Woven wire.
is that what it's called? Not up on my fence lingo. You got your post, you got your wire.
That's
If
right.
you spin a little more, you can get the non-climbable woven wire.
All right.
Run a couple batteries through it.
I know a fence involves a hole, a post, and some wire.
So,
That's exactly
I mean,
right.
we'll replace it when we buy all the hangers, but right now we don't own the hangers even,
Yeah.
none of the hangers on that back row, so. We were trying to acquire one.
So if the fair board decides they can do it for 2,500, what it costs,
He brought me a quote from Trevor Redx, and it was $12,529,
that's for the 6-foot fence?
that's for the 6-foot fence.
So my thought, now one of the sticking points is, the fair wanted to be able to use it for pens, but I think it's a fair request if somebody's paying half that we don't tie up to it. I think that's fair, but.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's fair for us because I don't think we wanna be back in the boat of replacing fence.
So I mean, you guys can put up a fence and then we can come back in when we buy the hangers and put in the 6-foot fence. That's.
What kind of fence does the fair board want? Just something that'll keep out strays and stuff?
Yeah.
I think it's so the animals don't get out.
I think, yeah, they don't want, like if
If they
some
put livestock.
livestock gets loose back there, that it just doesn't go off down the runway and catch a plane and goes up there.
So if we moved forward and the agreement essentially was that the town were to pay the first 7,000 of it, we would pick up the tab to 7,000. Is that fair?
Over 7,000?
Yeah, so if for some reason it was to go to 14 or more, we'd have to have a discussion, but.
What's a quarter mile? 4 wire fence.
We've been using it, like 50 cents to tear it out and probably about 25 to put it back in.
And is there currently a fence there that would have to be torn out? So at $2 a foot, it'd cost us 2,000 to put the fence in that the fair board wants to put in.
Yeah.
Which would be cheaper than going half with you
Yeah.
guys.
And I can't tell you when we're gonna get the hangers bought, but
7,000.
put in the rest, so.
Yeah, how far down the road is that? There's no way.
Well,
to
we
know that.
tried to acquire one just last month and we didn't happen, so.
So I guess my thought would be we'll put in a 4-foot, 4-wire barbed wire fence.
Yeah.
At a cost of 2,000, and then when you guys
Yeah.
do acquire it, then you can put whatever fence you want in. I
And that's
guess.
fine with us.
Yeah.
Just however you guys wanna do it. We were just, if you guys were gonna put in a 6-foot, we'd go half.
Honestly, it'd probably be a waste of money anyways because you guys would be tearing it out. I would imagine you guys will tear it out when you guys get the hangers bought.
Yeah,
So-
well, we're gonna put up a 6-foot fence.
So if, I guess the only way it would be reasonable for us to go halves on it is if our half was gonna cost 7,000 to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess if we get a estimate, or the fair board gets an estimate, and it's gonna be 7,000, yeah, then we can go to the. That's assuming that the total cost of the 6-foot fence won't be over 14,000.
Right.
So are you, Ian, in your calculation, is that including man hours or is that just material?
Yeah, that's man hours, everything. I mean, we were doing like, probably with the price of people and stuff, we were like 11,500 a mile, but you're probably close to 12 or something like that. 12, 13 maybe, if you're expensive, but like for 1,000 feet of fence, maybe not.
Yeah, you're talking one brace on each end and then.
Yeah, you've got 4 rolls of wire and then $500 in braces.
Did you guys see what Jim had,
Not off the top of my head.
this is what Jim gave me.
So you're talking like wood, steel,
Jesus
wood.
Christ. I'd ask for somebody else to get a quote.
Is that what you're talking about, Ian? You're talking about wood, steel, wood?
Or if I was doing it,
Yeah.
we'd go steel and then T-posts. I mean, if it's just keeping out stuff,
Yeah.
that's it.
So you got a
And
wood
where-
post every so far and then steel in
You could
between?
probably-
Put a
you-
RFP out.
If you wanted to do
No,
it
it's
really
not
well,
right.
you put
We're
like
not
a
putting up
steel
the
post
fences.
every 5 posts or
If
something
county
like
wants
that,
to go
but
half, we're not putting up.
I mean, it's a,
If the county doesn't wanna go half, then
what are you trying
we
to
don't own
keep
the
out?
land. We were just being,
I don't
Trying
think
to be
you need
nice.
that, but you
And
could
meet the
have it.
future intent.
Mhm.
There's not like you
so
gotta.
we wouldn't be
hurry
doing it in
all
the
over
future, so,
Right.
but,
Just
so,
go T-posts.
Eventually, once
1,000
we get
feet.
bought up, we'll have to cover all of it.
that might be 10 years down the road.
Well, say,
Yeah, that's true.
Jim and Jenny are coming,
Right now.
yeah, so hopefully they can give you more information as to why they
Yeah.
or what they're thinking. But I do appreciate Tabitha coming because
Cause right now we don't own that property, so we don't own
It'd probably be
anything behind
$1,500
it, so
for
for us to put up a fence would
probably
be,
3,000 for that.
we wouldn't do it.
You know,
The town owns most of the
you could put it in a
airport, just
day.
not the.
We own the airport, we
hangars.
don't own the hangars.
That's what I was wondering.
We own like 6, I think.
And that's what we're fighting with right now.
Just buying the other hangars out.
So we can get the FAA compliance.
So in our,
So it's
The fence goes
between
all
the
the way to
fairgrounds and the.
Back of the
to
hangars.
the back of the hangars over there, Malcolm.
Mhm.
So, right there, and
Yeah.
then it stops.
How much crap's in the way?
a lot. And these
Yeah.
lines are obviously off,
Right.
but like this is all county stuff.
Holy moly.
I think they were trying to get it cleaned up, cause when I was over there for the 4th, it didn't look quite as much stuff.
Whose crap is on either side of the fence? Is it all, our side is on our side and your side is on your side?
We don't have a side, it's not our property.
Oh,
I think-
yeah.
I thought you owned-
I might use
Nope.
me someone other.
We own that one,
The Steinhausen.
the side
Yeah.
house.
A lot of it's you guys then.
So the collapsed one is on town property.
Mhm.
And then the tower.
Yep.
Hmm.
You know, I think from our perspective, we've got the patience. We could wait for the town to own them and put up
Yeah,
the fence and not have any expense into it.
yeah, that's exactly right.
But it was, the fair board really wanted it yesterday and, because I think Ian's point of the waste, maybe that's why they went this path of proposing that fence. So that when the town does put one in, it's not pulled out,
Yeah.
and then what do we do with it?
I think you guys, when you buy the properties, you probably have them surveyed and stuff like that, and the points will change, then you wanna change the fence to make sure they're on the corners and stuff like that. I imagine it'll have to be just redone anyways when you guys get the whole thing bought.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
don't
could tell
see
you when
two
that'll
ways
be.
about it. So,
Gabby, is there tall fence on this south,
It goes
West
up to
corner?
right there.
up to that?
Mhm.
Okay.
So you'd start right there where the,
Where our barrels are and tires?
is the yellow line of property line.
it
No,
kinda
it's
is.
off.
It's
So
that
like
one
this
right there.
corner
I'd
Right.
start off that ways.
into us.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that where you measured it from? When you
Yeah.
measured it?
Like, I just did it from the corner just to see.
Yeah. Man. That's like a comfortable afternoon.
You guys pounding steel posts or pipe posts then, or?
I don't know.
So it'd be
I would imagine it'd
shy
be
of
just,
900.
I mean, the easiest thing to do is
Drive the pipe.
drive the pipe and,
Drill steel.
yeah.
But I'm sure when we do the fence, we'll only do our section of the fence. So,
I'm sure, yeah.
cause that goes all the way up to the road, right, Malcolm?
Mhm.
And see, we wouldn't do anything behind the houses or anything like that.
So you'd probably come up to this point and then over.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Would you guys, is that hanger down the bottom there, you know, where the, you guys go past that, wouldn't you? Or no, that's still airport.
If they own these, I think.
We don't own those.
You trying to get,
So do you have to put fence on the inside next to the airport?
We would just replace it right back there. we'd fence the whole airport in. When we get the hangars bought, the whole airport would be fenced
Is the
in.
goal to buy these two also?
Yes.
Hello.
Hey,
We're talking fence.
okay.
Everybody should be smiling. This is easy.
So, how'd we get here? I guess it's the best way to start.
Yeah.
Justin Gentle, Gene Daly has asked about the fence numerous times. Justin Gentle came in, thought that him and Gene thought on the fair board that it needed fixed. If an animal got loose, it was gonna be on the airport, cause that fence, it really has been that way pretty much since we got that big snowstorm and the hangars collapsed. So that's kind of where the conversation started, was getting it fixed if an animal got loose. So then asked Jim to find out whose fence it was, who the fence belonged to. He started that, I think, talked to Town of Wheatland. Here we are.
And you got this estimate for the fence.
Yeah. So somehow, that guy that gave me that, he found out that I was gonna look for a quote, he stopped by and asked me if he could give a quote, so that's the only one I've gotten. If we move forward, then, obviously, I think we need to get a couple more, but.
I think so. That's ridiculous.
So that quote is to match the same thing that's already around the other parts of the airport.
Oh, so this is for the 8-foot fence,
Yes.
or 6 foot, or
6
whatever it is.
I misspoke the first time, it's 6 foot fence.
The other thing that I will mention is personal opinion, being out there during fair. If you look at that picture, animals can't even get to that side of the property unless they come through this gate right here, because there's a gate over here that we keep locked. There's a gate here, that we keep locked. There's a gate right here that is locked all the time. So they would have to come through that metal gate right here for an animal to even get to that side of the property.
Unless they're from the rodeo grounds themselves.
Unless unless it's horses during the horse show, or, horses during high school rodeo, but we lost high school rodeo. We will not have that in Platte County anymore.
So what type of fence does the fair board want?
Well, after the quote came and talking with the town and everything else, I think they were okay with just a 5-wire like it was before. I think it was the town of Wheatland would prefer it to be the 6-foot fence. Town of Wheatland would prefer it to be 6-foot fence. We were okay with it if we're just trying to keep animals out, 5-wire fence. But I guess my question is, we cost share on a 6-foot fence, then it is my understanding we're not allowed to touch it, attach anything to it.
That's what I'm going maybe.
So I guess that's the other thing, that we're paying for a fence that we then are not allowed to touch in any way, shape, or form. So if we wanted to put something over there, we're then building a fence anyways, because we can't attach to their fence.
I'm half tempted to just tell Jim to go to Bumgar's and get 5 rolls of wire and a post and put the fence in.
So then we would have to have it resurveyed, correct? Because there is a high voltage and a low voltage somewhere in there.
You'd have to call before you dig, for sure.
So, was Preston out there the other day?
Yep.
And how did that turn out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
What the
we can see that there's a need
fits
for a
that way.
fence, but right now we don't own all of the property, and where you guys are wanting to come all the way to the road, we definitely don't own
It's less than a
that
quarter mile.
property. We only own that one
Between
in front
5
that's
over wire, that's
collapsed.
5/4 mile.
That's the only hanger we own back there. So that's the only town property, so.
Doesn't matter if it's 12 or 14
We were willing
gauge,
to
whatever.
cost share through the whole thing,
14 gauge, you probably
if you guys did a
suffice.
6 foot.
It's not as
If
heavy.
you guys don't do a 6 foot, we're not, the town would
Yeah,
have to be out. Cause we'll fence in the whole airport whenever we acquire all the hangars.
and that could be when,
10 years?
1 year, 10 years?
You don't
Oh,
know.
definitely 10,
One of those,
we're leaning towards the
you know.
10 years side. But yeah.
Do you have access to a postal digger?
Yes,
Does, Chris have one?
yeah, he's got the attachment for this skid steer.
Cause like we were talking, a 1,000-foot fence like that, 4 wire, 5 wire, whatever you put on, you should be able to do that in less than a day.
That's not rocket science.
I mean, I've built fence by myself.
Right.
It's a lot rougher country in quite a short amount of time.
So then the question would be, where do you put the fence? So right now, there's not a property line
So whether,
designated.
whether we do it ourselves or whether we hire somebody to do it, we're gonna have to tell them where to put the fence, one way or another. That's kind of beside the point, really. There's an original fence in there,
Mhm.
but nobody knows whether it's actually on the property line or
So,
not.
Malcolm, if you go clear down to the road, there is a marker right here, right here, which is, then this fence sits about 4-5 feet on the inside of this marker. There is nothing at the other end.
So is that marker just highway right-of-way marker?
I think so.
Yeah,
So
that's what
it
Laura
doesn't-
thought too. So Laura had come out and we kind of looked at it. The other end, there is nothing. There's, she said there was supposed to be some caps on the other end, but there is nothing there.
so what is the yellow line?
Irrelevant, it's off.
Oh, I was
It's-
like,
Nothing, it's supposed to be the property line. Actually, let me do this. Yeah, doesn't exist.
oh, okay. Cause the fence on, I mean, the fence on the south end is still strong-ish. It's that end that you're looking at on that picture that really doesn't have much of a fence existing, but on the other end
So it-
is,
Originally had a fence, and then when we got that big snowstorm, it was crushed.
when the snow fell or whatever, I don't know, but yeah, it's most of the damage
that
is on that
point in
other
time,
end, and then it just hasn't been maintained
Everybody
since
said we
then.
don't need a fence there and just forgot about it.
I guess so. That's what it looks like.
I just go rebuild the fence that was originally there, and if you don't need to buy the supplies to do it on the south end, start from where it's good and replace the fence in the existing location.
What is the fence? Is it an 8-foot fence, or what is the fence that's sitting there? What's in the ground?
No, it's got field wire on the bottom, and then it had 2 barb on top.
Is it just T-posts?
No, they're all wood.
All wood posts, are they still there?
Some of them. The
What do
others
you
are
mean by
broke
some?
off.
What do you mean by some of them?
Some of them are standing and some of them are just broke off. I mean,
Like 1 every 3 or 4 or whatever?
well, where the hanger's at, most of all of those are laying on the ground.
Are they like, they're about 4 foot tall or 5 foot tall, sticking out of the ground?
Some of them are, snapped right at the ground. I mean,
But
it's like dig it out and yank them out.
So put a T-post by them? Is that
feasible.
Is that the answer?
I mean, building.
I mean, I think you
fences
could
are
do
rocket science.
T-posts, you
Right.
know, you do wood every so often, T-posts in the middle.
But what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do?
Well, their concern was if an animal got over there, it couldn't get on, so I'm sure there was a reason why there was the field fence at the bottom and then the barb at the top. I personally don't think we need that. Why can't you just do wood and T-post posts and a 4 or 5 wire fence right there, like I have in my pasture to keep my cattle
And
in?
that's what I'm thinking.
Right.
I agree with you 100%.
That's what I mean, so the question of like the wood posts are broken off, so go buy a T-post and drive it in, or if you're really strong, go buy a post or a post hole digger and put in a new post. I mean, that's pretty easy. That seems like maintenance. You know, I mean, really, it seems like normal maintenance.
Is the wire racked or is it all there
Um,
where you can put it up?
No, I think it's pretty much gone. You know,
When we
it
were out
needs to
there, it was
be,
gone.
it needs to be taken out and, I mean, it's a heavy.
It definitely needs, I think you could probably reuse maybe half of the posts. You could do T-posts. It does need, in my opinion, all new wire. I mean, if I was doing that in my pasture for my cattle, I would replace all of the wire on it.
So, yeah, that's okay. We're talking about $500, it's 12,000. I mean, legitimately, guys, that's what we're talking about. If we, that seems like something that's very easy for us to do. Go on, I don't see a need to spend any more than $1,000 on it.
I agree.
Yeah, I'm the same way, don't need to, we're not talking about something in Better Homes and Gardens magazine for crying
Yeah,
out loud.
I
It's
mean,
just,
look at this shit piled up by it now.
yeah, exactly.
So
Well,
it'll take you longer to get to the fence than it would be to fix the fence with all the junk.
I know
Yeah,
it's been
picture.
said before, but I mean, it is a fence out state, so
In the interest of being, you know,
Right.
good neighbors, these
Right.
guys.
Well, I think the Fair Board's looking at protecting the
Yes.
exhibitors and the folks.
Yes.
yes,
Fairground to keep their, I'm
yes.
sure they have an obligation to,
Yeah.
but I do know from experience, when I was in 4-H, I remember steers getting away and one of them, they caught somewhere down where Fairview and the old Guernsey Highway meeting down there. After it
Yeah.
went through a couple parking lots and smashed the cars in.
Yeah, so if you guys do have a
Things like
steer out,
that.
you need to go over like the protocol is if you don't chase them, they won't run.
Well, we've had them get out. I've been there for it to help round them up, and they're usually, I don't know if you guys know where Poston Anderson lives, but they run right along the airport fence and to that
Yeah.
corner, and then you go up there and pick them up.
Exactly, right, yeah. Except for you have like 15 cowboys that are going yee-haw, let's go
Yes.
get them.
Yes.
Oh,
Or the exhibitor's like, oh my gosh, and they take off running and,
Yeah, panic ensues.
But yeah, to me, it's just that it fell down and was neglected and never
Yes.
maintained.
Yeah.
And so just put the fence back like it was and
Very good.
it's maintenance.
I like it.
And then if the city at some point in time gets
Yeah.
those hangers bought and they wanna put a different fence in there, more than
That's-
welcome to do
And we
so.
will
great.
whenever we get all
Yeah.
the hangers bought. And
It really makes a lot of sense.
All right.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions on the
Yes.
fence?
Thanks, Tabitha.
You're welcome.
Good news.
Will you call me next week? or the week
All
after,
right.
So we can do
Let's say that
the
out loud.
weather thing?
Which, you wanna start at the beginning, Malcolm?
For Fair Week.
Yes, I do.
Perfect, thank you.
I want to roll through fairly quickly to understand what, I feel like there's a part where I do poorly, is not go back through with you all and review, and just make sure what's appropriated is what you want to appropriate or not. So, before I do that. So this cash on hand number is a little, this cash on hand number is a little misleading. So in this current, in the last fiscal year, one of the emergency reserve CDs matured. And asked Christie to move it to the general fund because we would need to cash flow this specific purpose project. Right? So that's why you can see roughly 1.6 million is dedicated out of general funds towards the SPET project. The intent is that those get paid back to the emergency reserve. Our emergency reserve really should be about $6 million in order to have 6 months of reserves on hand. So we're at 4 million right now. I was asking that 250 go back into the emergency reserve, where it came from, while the other 1.6 go towards the SPET project. But given today's discussion, I think we're somewhat in an emergency. I don't think that you're using, we're gonna have to make adjustments because using that year after year obviously will deplete our emergency reserve. But that's something we'll talk about as we get through each department. So obviously dedicated the entire general fund to the budget. The county fair endowment was 35,000, that's for their discretionary fund. Library fund, based off our discussion this morning, when you guys go to lunch, I'll go through and figure what their IT portion is and dedicate their funding towards their share of IT. Does that make sense? Okay. And then SCARF, 100,000 goes towards the motor grader, 70,000 is for that additional work this year on Fish Creek that we had talked about. The full amount of spot funding would go towards phase 2. Opioid settlement, roughly 15,000 is wages, 10,000 is for operations. That's a fund that's gonna be a burn or settle for a while because there's no good guidance on what to do with it.
Can we use it to cover an RN?
I think, so I do think that there's a path that if we're able to track and elucidate that folks who are being treated are for some sort of opioid dependency, that we could probably use some of that. But I don't know that I'm comfortable with
That's
this
something you can
fiscal
talk to somebody that you've been working with about.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Good. Great job.
It's just a question, Will. I mean, you just be throwing a question at them, too.
Yeah. That's something that we could chat with Penny about. I don't know if she knows the complete ins and outs of that opioid settlement fund. But it's an option that we can explore or chat with her.
You get them coming in and they've got that
Malcolm,
problem.
how come your numbers are different than our numbers?
because this is the final.
That's the final.
This is
So
our
you've
final,
updated that.
final fiscal year end numbers. Now, this F column, what's committed, will depend on what your discussions today per department are. But these numbers here in this C column are exactly what we ended with on June 30th.
Okay.
So, down at the bottom, I put this in the wrong one. Oops. So, we had talked about using general funds to cover the firefighter expenses to try to build that. This is just me transferring at the beginning of the year so that we can invest for the full 12 months. And then any payments we get back on our fire suppression invoices will go to the general fund. So essentially, we're just loaning the fire fund so we can invest it right away. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Same exact thing I'm proposing with the SPET project. Loan it and then pay it back as we collect through the year. And then, really, nothing to worry about here. I just want to go department by department and see if you have any changes. So, for commissioners, did you all have any changes? You'll notice a lot of approved areas, like your salary's already set by resolution. Can't do anything about it. So congratulations, you've made one decision in this budget. So do you have any changes in here?
I don't. No.
Clerk.
I mean, everything is the bare minimum already.
Yeah.
For everything.
About the only thing we could do, I mean, we could cut new equipment, we would need to figure out what we're going to do with our binders. And keep in mind, the tentative included a 5% increase for employees. And so that's, I guess, somewhere you could wiggle, you could go down. I don't think you can go up from that number, but you could go down. And then treasurer, I mean, I think that is the bare minimum. The only difference being the additional employee, that changes January 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That position goes away. So it's really only a 6-month position.
yes.
And that would be nice to get them 6 months of experience.
I think it's one of those, do you cut your toe off or do you lose your foot?
So the assessor, the difference between last year, well, 2 years ago and last year, you appropriated this part-time position, which it helps get the 2 appraisers out in the field more regularly, and I don't know how that's working.
It's been working great. They go out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, provided there's no underlying reason, weather or somebody's out or anything. It's been really great to have them out on a regular schedule.
Well, that's the only way they operate, right?
I'm sorry?
That's the only way they operate is 2 in the field.
Yes.
They're 2 gals, aren't they?
Correct.
It's- Yeah,
Not really a feasible thing to have just one, and with safety factors these days, I wouldn't send one person out by themselves.
I know, yeah.
And then everything else is
She
minimal.
really helped in putting, our part-time person really helped in putting in a lot of data entry with all the exemptions that we have, just to help free up time for the rest of us to do our other daily jobs as well. It was very, very beneficial having her.
You notice, like the assessor's postage is quite a bit higher than mine, but she has to send notices of assessment. So every landowner obviously gets their notice. That's a statutory requirement. And when I get to my message this afternoon, that's the theme of it, that there's not a lot of this is voluntary. This is stuff
Yeah.
you shall do according to the legislature.
So that's why I say we're at the bare minimum, everything we do, so it's real hard to find $250,000 for a nurse.
Anything.
So for sheriff, we'll skip salary for just a moment. So these areas here would be what would really be up for discussion if there were any changes or anywhere they think they could wiggle.
Something we talked about on the break, I guess, just throw it out there, was we have the 1 vacant patrol position and we'd have a vacant detention position. If we put a freeze on those till January 1 on hiring them, that
We
would,
might be able to make up a salary.
I mean, what, that 120,000 probably, we'd save between benefits and salary to help us get through this medical crisis this year. And then January 1, we could resume. Kind of go,
Right.
but
I mean, that's
that would be-
assuming you could hire them anyway.
But-
I mean,
Yeah.
that puts that assumption on that.
Right, and that's, I mean, we're short now, and
Yeah.
we've been running short, and we could get by in those areas being 1 down on each side, for the next 6 months. Because I mean, realistically, the summertime's our busy time, we can't get a patrol position hired to be useful during the summer currently. So, we could get through till the first year easy and have somebody ready for next summer. And I think that'd be a quick, easy place to gather up some cash that's already allotted without trying to reinvent everything.
I'm a little surprised on the detention position that you'd want to freeze hiring that, because I feel like you're at minimum levels.
And our thought when we discussed that was to do that administrative sergeant position. If everything moves through with the pay then, or the scale that we looked at, or the command tree, right? That's something that we could, for the next 6 months, we could all take on a little bit of that position to alleviate it and not it's not something we wanna run forever without basically, but it's something that it could be done and we have to do something to,
Something we've been doing.
so,
One position would be something that we could still continue to share the responsibility.
and ultimately, like I said, we wanna get to that point to where it's its own thing, but we're also very aware that we gotta give up in certain areas to gain. I mean, we walk in here asking for a pretty good chunk of money for this then, and short of completely ditching an entire position, it's kinda tough, right? And, if we can give one up temporarily and make it work, and then that puts us into next year kind of thing, we have a year now to plan for what it looks like next year and make some bigger changes.
Sorry.
What's the total, so if you look at what we pay in the existing medical care versus what we're looking at, what's the actual difference? If we're saying there's $150,000 in a salary for an RN,
I think this is where,
that's the,
I mean, we're starting to get a little close and maybe we should go to an executive session for it, but
yeah.
There's certainly a willingness by that individual to come back. And
Yeah.
if that's the case, I think it's been discussed that at her licensure, really shouldn't be operating alone, should have at least an RN above. So I think we're having to look for an RN no matter what.
So our discussion, a little bit during the break when we stepped out was, I think, kind of moving maybe forward with or trying to move forward or see if we can figure out how to do a 12-week contract with somebody to get somebody here, get it going, get something stabilized, and then we can look at hiring one.
In order to fund that, you would put a freeze on those other two positions.
Correct. So that's where we,
Really, that's the
we
only
look,
way we can come up with that kind of money.
there's some, we still gotta go through some of the contract stuff and kind of figure out the total cost money, but we're, $50,000 I think would cover a 12-week contract,
Yeah.
which sounds horrendous when you say it out loud, but that also gets us out of a hole at the moment, and then you add another, did I hear, I don't remember what the average RN wages were,
77.
77?
So
So you double up
Plus,
for,
yeah.
right, so,
regardless of who we have in this nurse position, we were under,
We were
I mean, we were.
understaffed in that
Yeah,
position, I guess would be the way to put it.
Yeah, exactly.
we weren't meeting the requirements that we were responsible to do.
Am I being dumb, or is that something the county health officer can cover?
and I don't know without, I guess Malcolm helping out here, but the number of what, I guess one full position would save us. If we take 6 months with
Yeah.
2 positions, that's what, a year of salary that would be saving. I don't know if that even comes close or that helps, or,
So the county health officer, it is not within his scope at the moment. Certainly willing to look at it, and he gave me some information that they would need to gather, but it will increase cost.
Compared to what?
So that's,
I mean, legitimately compared to what? We're talking
these are all
about
things that
$50,000.
we're working through, but we just
Yeah.
haven't had enough time to get
So-
through some of it, right?
With their plan to put a freeze, we wouldn't change anything right now.
right. Basically what we would do is appropriate the same levels, and there's this understanding that they're seeking out an RN, and we're gonna have to just meet monthly, really.
And I think the biggest thing right now is just maybe doing a contract then to get somebody here and get us stabilized and plug the hole. And then whether that's, we stay with an LPN and we do a medical director, or we run the RN, like, we have some options from there, but at least we're not underwater still. And that gives us a 12-week period to get a path done, and know we're covered and know we're in good shape.
You know, the worst part of that is it's a pretty high dollar band aid just to get there.
But yeah,
I mean, that's an expensive Band-Aid just to
Going
get
to
there.
Band-Aids to surgery.
You guys know that. but-
Right, but I also think not having one opens us up for a huge
Well,
issue, right?
yeah,
Cause
I don't argue
we
that.
can't do medicines and things and,
No.
yeah, we're
nor would you want to.
kind of, I think, backed up against the wall here at a level, in a certain area, and I'm trying to figure out what the best
At every
step
level,
forward is, right?
at every level.
Yeah.
Lord.
So I mean, I know it's not gonna be cheap, and I know it's not gonna be, I don't know what the right answer is, and that was kind of the hope of having these conversations was,
Yeah,
do you guys have a better financial thought on how we do this? Because contracting is obviously super expensive and not a long-term solution.
Don't you just love having these really tough decisions to make and you don't have the input that you need to get there?
And that's just,
Melanie will be here the 16th to do everything. She's in New Mexico right now.
and she
She's gonna come in. and
sounds
sit down
willing
with
to do
us.
some, contract work with us to help.
This should have been a discussion that happened years ago.
Correct.
Yeah.
And now we're
Yeah.
backed up and we're in a crisis moment, basically, is what it amounts to. So I think the goal for us currently is to stop the crisis so we can logically think through the rest of it. And I don't know
Well,
how to do that other than,
how did we
The
get where we're
contract.
at versus, or has it always been this way, or is it
Yeah,
all
it's
we
been-
know, or?
always.
In 2010, when I started, we had the 3 nurses. I believe 2 were part-time, 1 was full-time, I could be wrong on that, but we had 3 nurses.
we've always had the LPN as the head full-time nurse.
Our
So
LPN has always been.
In 10, you had
full-time.
3 RNs?
No, so we had our current LPN, she was there, and then we
Okay.
had 2 other part-times that we covered. And I don't know how they work their schedule, I don't remember.
But you've never had an RN.
As far as I know, I don't believe we've ever had an RN, and it's, I mean, according to Melanie, it's something that we should have, must have, in order for our LPN to do her job correctly. So,
And realistically, you call 5 different places, you get 5 different solutions on how and what you truly need. So I think that at the end of the day, we gotta find out what our solution is and make sure our attorneys and things are good with it, right? But
So if that's the plan moving forward, and the understanding, well, I mean, I don't think we have any other choice.
We don't, no.
I mean, is that a fair
I-
give to?
I
Okay.
think you're trying to scalp somebody from Banner.
I mean, that's ultimately the hope, right, is we continue to advertise knowing that we don't fill that position for 12 weeks or whatever, but hopefully set enough money aside that we can cover both by not filling those other positions, or at least take a huge dent out of it. 'Cause we come in here, we know we can't just keep asking and keep getting, right? You gotta give up in places to gain in others.
It's not you guys,
It's not- yeah.
it's the statute.
Well,
And
we have a
also the threat of
Department
lawsuit.
that operates, and there's only so much money to operate it, and
Yeah, it's,
certain things are required, certain things are an extra, or it helps, but it's not a absolute have to have. This is a have to have, so we may have to give in other places, so.
You guys are tasked, we're tasked with things to fix, and we don't have the tools to fix it.
Right.
Correctly, the way we want to, we just don't have the tools to do it.
It's only money at this point to pull everything up, right?
Well, you got money, you got people, I mean, there's a lot of tools involved in taking care of this.
So, but we can very well operate for the 6 months and not see a drastic reduction in service with those 2, in my opinion. I think we would, and that would free up a known cost that we had already planned to spend, right? That we'll just reallocate. And I guess we're still going to spend it, we're just spend it in a different area.
Okay, you good with that, Malcolm?
yeah, so what I'll do is
I'll make a notation that there's a hiring freeze on 1 detention deputy, 1 patrol deputy until January 1. And that those wages are designed to offset the cost of medical.
Okay.
Is there anything in the regular budget that you all want changed?
There'd be a lot of things we want changed, but there's nothing that we can change.
Yeah.
And I think it's not just this department, it's every department.
The only thing, and I know I've harped on this, and I know you're all sick of hearing it, but oh well. And I think you've done it a really good job in a lot of places in the last few months. But I think there's areas to help yourself. And I know it seems small, idling of vehicles, of course, is one, and I think you've made tremendous strides in that over the last few years. That's one complaint I used to hear from the public, don't really hear it as much anymore. But I think you're all making those strides, but just keep that in mind. Every one of us can do stuff to help ourselves.
We discussed that too, about making sure that we keep our belts tight for this next year, so.
Yeah, I think you guys understand what you guys are
And I think
better
there's
than
gonna be
anybody
some
else.
internal things that move around to help try to eliminate some of the issues that we've seen before and how we handle the spending and who and what and those type of things. So the goal is this year to keep it where it needs to be and work at it, so.
And I mean, one of the things you've done is right here on this page, you've repurposed a position, you've gone without, because you've maximized some efficiency, so I do applaud you for that. But
And like I said, I know that there's only so much to go, and we don't necessarily generate as much revenue as we spend, and we're a hole that you throw money in to get a service, right? But we're a necessary service at a level, and we've come accustomed to a certain level of service that we provided the community, and now that the only real way to keep cutting, then the service goes away, and now it's a bad fight to fight, right?
Yeah, no. Like I said, there's been a lot of changes in your guys' department over the last couple of years, and they've all been really, really good. And it's tough to go without a couple positions as long as you guys have. Like, I understand that it's a frustrating, insurmountable battle that you go, maybe it'll be over tomorrow, but you can't stop dancing until the gorilla wants to stop dancing. So,
and I'm gonna talk about this during my message later today, but you know, we're competing for, especially law enforcement, with the state of Wyoming, because cops really aren't a private thing, right? So when the state of Wyoming demands we do certain things and then sets their law enforcement pay at $29 an hour,
yeah,
they're the ones widening the gap. They reduce the resources to the counties, demand more services, and then they increase their troopers. Good for their troopers, but when our guys are starting at $19.50 an hour, there's a $10 disparity between those starting wages.
Yeah.
That has to be addressed. So,
And we talk about our necessary evil, we're kind of the catch-all.
exactly.
If you don't have a trooper, whatever, you have to have, you know, our cities, our towns have been low staffed, which means we have to jump in, help that, we have to jump in, help highway patrol, but who's gonna help
Yes.
us kind of deal, right?
Exactly.
And
And
I
the
guess-
towns have been real good about coming out here in the last
yeah,
little bit, helping us when we've been tied up in things too, so some of it goes both directions, but the state doesn't typically.
I would rather see a sheriff's car out than a trooper's car out, by a long shot, because those guys are the ones that are, like, I know you guys pretty well, so does everybody else, but the troopers are just here and there. It's frustrating.
so the only real change between your recommended budget that you saw, in working with the sheriff's office, they really wanted to incentivize folks to take on extra tasks. So you'll have guys and gals that show up, they just wanna be productive members and go home. But then you'll have others who wanna take advanced trainings, better the department, do more advanced things. So to accommodate that, we discussed actually lowering these wages a little bit from what the recommended was, we could build in enough to have this basically instructor and special duties category. So these are deputies that go above the minimum to give back to the department. Does that make sense?
So a lot of these ones were the ones that either you're training constantly, somebody taking on that liability of the department, that you're the expert of that field, or you're required to continue training in that field regularly each month for a period of hours to keep in guidelines, I guess, so. Our last pay scale kind of had it was kind of built in there, but when we done it, it got weird to where we'd have some guys that didn't quite make the top of the professional category to get those things, so then they were doing all these things without the incentivizing, so we wanted to try to break it off and be able to apply those where it needed instead of just holding out on it, and that way we can try to start getting everybody put back in within policy, within where they're at for the pay, and then where it's been kind of a mess here recently.
And I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, it is what it is and was what it was, but when I was here the first time, I had 14 extra duties, and I got same pay as the new guy on the street, you know, and that, I don't wanna do that to the guys. If they're willing to work hard and do what needs to be done for the better of the community, I wanna compensate them.
I agree. Okay.
Attorney, any changes?
Can we get rid of the attorney? Never mind. The department, not the attorney.
Unfortunately, no. And this is a part-time position we did away with last year. Planning and zoning, any changes? Coroner. One thing from their request was additional funding for facility rent. Did not recommend it, obviously. So, any changes? Extension?
No.
I don't know what to do about this one necessarily because, and it's not Mona's fault. You guys saw she overdrew court costs, and it's simply because of the court appointed attorneys. It has nothing to do with her or her planning, but I'm worried 85 won't be enough again, but we'll just have to address it as the year goes. Okay, facilities, your department. I know that there was discussion about equipment, things like that. Is there anything you want to change in here?
We have no amount for new equipment already, so you're asking us if we want some new equipment?
Right, no.
No.
Okay. We might need an E-swing hammer and a couple staples. That's it.
Well, that swing hammer lasts your lifetime.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Some of 30 years old, still work.
Yeah, but you don't lose your tools.
I don't, no, I don't plan them.
detention, there's really nothing to, the only thing is, we do have planned, the new equipment is that van that
That
Terry
transport,
should pay it for itself. But the trade we did was that the inmate trust fund would cover the supplies budget for this fiscal year. So essentially, we were appropriating the 75 like we would normally for a car. And then the difference was made up by the supply budget.
yeah, but that van's a sound prudent decision, I think, you know, because of what it can do on the backside, it's just not.
We were looking at stuff too for, I know that we have plans to redo a couple more pods. But if that's something that we gotta put on hold too, for this nurses stuff, so we can allocate funds to that, it's something that we need to do. They still have a bed to sleep in, water running, wouldn't be a bad idea maybe to hold off a year.
It's just maintenance costs that go up.
Or at least, or at least wait until we see what
At least
revenue
wait.
looks like. Kind of
Wait until we see
Yeah,
what
'cause
our
then,
revenue
then
is.
you got costs that go up, and then you got, okay, instead of 2 pods, now we got 3.
We did not put money in for pod renos. For that reason was, like we did in the last fiscal year, wait till December to see if that daily population is holding steady or where it's at.
And that's something
we
that's a
look at
conversation
January 1.
for them on whether we Band-Aid or redo.
Wow, yeah. Okay, road and bridge.
All right, Chris, you're up.
Love to have a new skid steer and a cold planer. I think in the long run that would absolutely save us some money in road restorations. Yeah. The rest of it, I mean, material budget, it's it's a challenge, but I understand it all. So pretty much like we discussed before, I'd also love to have another full-time employee to be able to get more than one project done at a time with the shop crew. Our repair budget's gonna be, it was very tight this year. It's already starting off rough. Coming to this next one, the shop blade had a spindle go bad on it. And so we're about to get that replaced. That's gonna be around like 14, I think, and thousand. And then the other spindle is loose. We're gonna get it up to CAT. Hopefully they can just rebuild it, but somewhere in there it's gonna be close to 20 to get that thing back functional. And then we still need one set of motor grader tires, which is about $8,500. But good news is all our road graders at that point will have newer tires on them. They should last a while. We haven't really had to use any plow blades, but carbide is going up. They've said about 100% from what it costs now. So we'll see.
You might be going around the old junkyards and looking at which blades you can steal.
Yeah. Yeah, there's an old pull behind out there in front of Alexander Construction. Thought about maybe seeing what they would, see if they would let us use that.
It would be good for optics.
So one thing I think we need to have a discussion on is on personnel. And again, just trying to be cognizant that we're in an open session, that similar to the treasurer's situation, when you have somebody who's retiring and you want to try to get somebody up to speed, how do we pay for that person? We've not appropriated for it here, but if we did, how many months do you think of shadowing do you think would be beneficial?
Ideally it depends on the position, maintenance position, I would put that at 2 would be wonderful to give, just a lot of time for continuity and understanding ins and outs. You always forget little quirks with each of the vehicles. We got over 50 vehicles out there. For a road grader, 30 days would be awesome, just because that's about what each blade hand makes in their rotation throughout their roads. So 3 weeks to a month for a road grader. Shop personnel is just plug and play.
So for the position we're looking at, it's 2 months. That's about $7,500. I think that we should add into this part-time to cover that, to make sure we have continuity in that position.
Where are you gonna pull it from?
Well,
Gravel.
I think there's spots coming up that you all have indicated that you don't want to, or you're not interested in funding at this point. So it may come from other places down the line, or we could reduce the amount that's going into capital improvement. We've been trying to be diligent about putting money aside in that fund so that when
I guess
roofs blow off or major equipment
let's go
fails.
through the rest of it and see which ones,
Right.
what we're gonna.
I guess one thing is, on our, position that we will need to get filled, that clock has pretty much started to tick. So we're probably right at the 2-month mark right now, so probably end of August, beginning of September is what we're looking at, so. I guess in one way, it's, gonna be less and less as each day goes by. Cost.
Yeah.
Sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's kind of where we're at. I think, I think we're looking at end of August, beginning of September, pretty much after chip seal.
Then emergency management, really the only, I don't even know if you'd call this fluff, but is the emergency contingency fund. This is when it is officially at the fan. We have to have some money to pull from grant matching or things like that.
Or if we have a tornado and need dumpsters.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally
Flood meat sandbags, whatever.
the line item should just be called the fan.
Yeah, we did.
Like that's when it has hit the fan, so
I want to see it.
any changes on that one?
No.
Elections. I think we'll come in just shy of these two. Personally, I would not advocate to cut them,
Right.
but that's your call.
Yeah, I don't think we can cut them until we know we're done.
Once again, statutory responsibility,
Yeah.
roughly a third is paid back. Public health, the reason I'm copying that one, since it's a donation, it's specifically for that purpose, we can't do anything else with it. Perhaps some fluff here, but it would be for a travel car for, public health. We talked about somewhat updating fleet that is in dire need.
And ultimately, if you put it off, it just costs more in the long run.
And I got a quote for the vehicle that would fit it. And it would be $24,266. So that's not bad for a car.
So we could cut $700.
There you go. You're $700 closer to your medical care.
Yeah.
That's the problem,
It's just
where we can
15
cut
minutes.
is pennies, and we're trying to come up with
Thousands of dollars, yeah.
Gold bullion.
pennies.
I mean, there is the grants, can't cut that because those are just for those. Salary, you could, we talked about it a little bit, is this FRC person, but I think
I'd hate to change it without Patty being here. Like, legitimately. I think she does too good of a job to kind of.
and based off the discussions, I didn't take it, it was an area you were interested in touching. But I can certainly call her if you want me to.
I'd leave it where it's at.
I'd leave it where it's at.
Library, I'll add the IT line while you guys are at lunch, but
Yes.
Otherwise, we're statutorily required to have a library in the county seat. Nothing says anything about the outliers.
Does it say it has to be open?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang it, I got that loophole.
Although I don't think it says there has to be anything in it.
Yeah.
It says to be open.
Gotta have a
Shall.
building, it's gotta be open, okay.
Hmm. That one is. Yeah.
Any thoughts?
I think.
Fair,
Same as the library.
okay. Fire, really the only thing we talked about was using general funds just to cover so that I'll be real close to being able to fund suppression, just on interest.
As long as it doesn't change.
As long as we don't have a fire this year, we'll be good.
You know what?
Actually,
Yeah.
we'd be closer to the goal,
Well, yeah, we would, because command unit would be out.
but you're talking interest rates change.
Or the suppression costs.
Yeah, true. Okay,
Nothing's gonna stay the same.
our suppression costs went down. Dispatch, another area you don't really have a choice.
I don't know that we really have a choice on any of them. You keep telling me we've got some that coming up here that,
Yeah.
I mean, all of it's a choice.
That's correct.
Now,
most all of it's statutory.
audit's gonna have to go up because you heard
Yeah.
Paul, so that one's gonna be, he said 9,000, right? So,
43.
and then social services, so this is a grant so it's not general funds, it's a grant. These would be more discretionary. In the past, there was a discussion that if we had planning and zoning fees, we would consider using them for these purposes. And since we had planning and zoning fees back, I had put them in as recommended. I didn't with chamber just because I didn't get the letter in time for the recommended budget. Any changes?
Until we can pay everything we're required to pay, I can't put anything in there. And that's the way we've done it
Yes.
forever.
I mean, we did pay PCD 2 years ago, and that's when that discussion of
That's
planning and
when we-
zoning fees came
Yeah,
up.
we had some planning fees.
And that's why I'm saying, since we have that again, that's why I had put it in. But is that something you all want to zero out?
Come again,
Do you want to fund these or not?
PCD,
If it,
sure we can,
I don't either.
sure we can.
oh, I agree.
And then admin, your big ones, obviously. Medical insurance, but I think the line is fine where it's at. Employees share 10% of that cost. Involuntary commitments, I'm always tempted to lower it, but the day we do, we're gonna regret it significantly. And then really the only other is
What's misc insurance?
property liability bonds.
Is there, it seems like something that's the same from year to year. Or is that 182
Well,
strange?
I'm gonna need to go while you're at lunch and look. I think the 182 was strange because I'll look back. We paid 2 years, 1 year of LGOP because theirs is due on July 1st and we would always cut it after the budget was approved.
Yeah.
So then it was late and they would always send the threatening letter. So we just changed it to where we paid 1 year in advance. So I stopped getting the nasty gram.
Yeah, okay,
I mean,
I follow.
these are tough for me, of course. With software, repair, maintenance, technical support. And that 205, remember, roughly half is licensing fees, from what we've heard. And I hate to think that we even employ somebody for less than 100 in that field.
Just not gonna happen.
Be like the nurse.
You talking wages or wages and benefits and all of it?
Wages. So you're over 200 with, if you hire somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and you're gonna have to pay your 100 in licensing fees. So you've inflated, to hire someone, you're up to 300,000, I think.
Hmm?
For what, George?
Yeah.
Is there anything else? Okay. I'll go through and tidy it up and get ready for this afternoon. I think we'll have to take a little bit out of the capital improvement reserve.
Yeah.
To cover, but I'll get it balanced. But the reason I did it this way this year is it's your decision. That's one of your major statutory tasks is to approve the budget.
It's more fun every year.
More requirements than what's running.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Malcolm.
Yep.
We will reconvene at 1:30.
Very good.